Had some problems the last couple of weeks. Borowski's first. A drop back. Remember, the footing is not good. He's going deep. He's got a wide open receiver downfield at the 30-yard line. Is Alfred Jackson. A good throw and a tremendous catch of a very slippery ball.
Well, because of injuries to the 49ers, in particular Ronnie Lott, they've had to make some adjustments in the secondary. Mario Clark is a starter over at the cornerback position, and they picked on him right away right here with Alfred Jackson, number 85. And any doubt that Morosky can't get the ball downfield is answered right there for you.
A 46-yard, or make that a 47-yard sliding reception by Alfred Jackson. Great receiver from Texas. He had 7 catches a week ago and losing to Cincinnati. Here's the handoff. This is Riggs, 230 pounds. Put him right on the 30-yard line. Here's the defense. We haven't even had a chance to give you the 49er defense yet. It's one of the best. Pillars, Tuiasa Sofo at nose tackle, and Dwayne Board, the leading sacker on this club at right end. Buns, Ellison, Fawnhorst, and Keena Turner. Look for Walter to be in there, by the way, at that inside linebacking spot a lot today. And as Wayne Walker told you, Mario Clark is starting at corner. Eric Wright, Holmo is in there, and Dwight Hicks is in there. 2 new starters in the secondary. Alfred Jackson, Benson, and Bailey. Stacy Bailey from San Jose. The toss back to Riggs. Riggs gets away from one tackler and gets inside the 20 to the 15-yard line and fumbles. But I believe Wright came up with it, but I believe the ball was whistled dead. This Atlanta team has lost 17 fumbles. That's one of the highest in the NFC.
And a key block right over here. Look at that block thrown. And number 87, the H-back, Cliff Benson, out in front. So they had 2 good blocks right there at the point of attack. One by Mike Ken, the big offensive left tackle, and one by the H-back.
And, of course, Riggs had over 100 yards in that first game at Candlestick Park. He is one of the few successful ball carriers against San Francisco this year. Inside trap play. This is Riggs straight ahead. Doesn't get much. Doesn't get much. Gets to the line, the 15. Tuiasa, Sopo, and Board teaming up there. We'll see a lot of 4-man fronts now that Dean is back, and Big Hands Johnson and Kelcher and et cetera. They'll come with all different fronts on that line of scrimmage. There's a flag down.
They run so many people in and out on defense that they always have people in there that are fresh, and towards the end of the ball game, that definitely makes a difference.
Flag will be picked up. No foul. Down remains 2nd down.
Jim Tunney getting control of this game before the players try to take it on this off track. Borowski is pleading a case, and the flag is put away. Well, that's good to see. This young man beat Green Bay a year ago, lost to Washington. So far this year he's been struggling, but to replace Bartkowski is a legend really in the South here is indeed very difficult. It's 2nd down and 9. Right on the 15. Inside handoff. Boy, Riggs got nailed as soon as he touched it. Maybe he got a yard. Riggs had 131 yards rushing in that first game, but they couldn't get a touchdown.
Well, San Francisco made a couple outstanding goal line stands on him in that first game, and that was a difference. And also, Stacy Bailey was wide open running for a touchdown, and Tommy Holmo caught him from behind. So the 49ers were at 1 point in that ball game, a little bit staggered, but they uprighted themselves and came back to win it handily.
You're looking at young Henning, young man that was 1 year as a quarterback with San Diego, and he was with Gibbs at Washington as an assistant, and his 2nd year here. Overthrowing number 82 in the end zone, Bailey, is Morowski. That ball had a lot of postage on it, but he threw it right out of the end zone.
I think that he saw that Bailey was well covered over there. Tommy Holmo was in front. Eric Wright was on him from behind, and Bailey thinks that somebody was knocking him around a little bit and was lodging a complaint.
Bailey needs 84 yards, as we mentioned, to go over 1,000 yards receiving. Luckhurst will try the field goal now on 4th down and call it 7. It'll be a 32-yard attempt. 5 for 6. The left-footed young man from England that kicked it cow. A hold by Morowski. It looks pretty good. It is good. Atlanta did something that everybody has wanted to do against San Francisco, and that's get on the board first. Atlanta 3, San Francisco nothing early in the first quarter. from Luckhurst. It's a 3-0 lead. He has had everything happen to this ball club that's possible. You lose your 3 best offensive people, Billy White Shoes Johnson, Bartkowski, and the great running back,
William
Andrews, all in one season. No wonder you're having some trouble scoring points. The kickoff is getting out of bounds. It will have to be re-kicked from the 30-yard line. A 5-yard penalty will be attached.
And it's not only those 3, Tom. They've had a lot of injuries in and out of the offensive line. Jeff Van Note, their veteran center, missed 2.5 games. Mike Ken missed a couple earlier in the year. So they've been patchwork. And sometimes you just have years like that when the injuries come and there's just nothing you can do to get it turned around. Dan Henning has received a vote of confidence from the owner here, so it doesn't seem like his job's in any danger or not. I think they recognize the problems he's had, and right there you're looking at 84% of their offense in 1983 was provided by those 3 people, and they are not with the team as of now.
Keep in mind that San Francisco, in 4 games this year, has not given up touchdowns to people. They shut out the Rams, and of course this team got a safety and a field goal in that 14-5 loss the first game. But San Francisco defense has become stingier and stingier, allowing only 14 points a game. Here's Monroe, one of the good return men, along the 44. He'll be waiting now at his own 10-yard line, so San Francisco will have good field position after this. It might be soggy, however. This is Derek Harmon. Harmon at the 9-yard line. The Ivy Leaguer gets away. Look out. Harmon, as flags fly, gets out to the 33.5-yard line. Boy, the crowd is very vocal. And you got to give the people that showed up today a lot of credit, because about 35 minutes ago, it was coming down in sheets. The illegal block in the back. Tunney gave you the call on that. You can see the people. I wonder if they don't take a psychiatric test. If today would have been a good one to throw another log on the fire and perhaps not go out, but they have come. They bought the tickets.
Illegal use of the hand during the run back, number 32, 10 yards, first down.
Moved the 49ers back some, Tom, and in the first game they hurt Atlanta a lot with a quick draw play that bothered them. I wouldn't be surprised from talking to Bill Walsh if they don't come right out and show that to the Falcons in this very first play.
The 1st and 10 right on the 15-yard line. I'll set this offense in just a moment. The quick draw, and that's Wendell Tyler. Over 1,000 yards rushing this season, and his 3rd 1,000-yard job in his career. He's quite a football player and having a great year. There's Joe Montana, the #1 rated quarterback. Wendell Tyler, as we said, over 1,000 rushing. Roger Craig, over 1,000 in total offense, catching and running. White, Clark, and Solomon, 2 of the very best. Earl Cooper is the movement man at the tight end. Bubba Paris, Ayers, Quillen, Cross, Fawnhorst. There are no better offensive lines than that unit. And Joe Montana is a legend already. Inside handoff. Wendell Tyler breaks out. Gets to the 35-yard line. He's like a duck.
That's right. The 49ers offensive lineman told us yesterday that Atlanta has a tendency to play their defensive ends a little bit wide, and they think they can run up inside of them. That's been pointed out the first 2 plays.
Mike Pitts at left end. Burley, the former Cincinnati Bengal. Bryan, the #1 draft out of Oklahoma. Fry, Curry, Richardson in the linebacking places, and the secondary has problems. Butler and Britt, Kenny Johnson having a good year, and Pridemore is being pushed. Montana's first pass. A little throw, but it looks like Freddie Solomon came up with it. Let's see if he trapped it. Kenny Johnson says no. Solomon says yes, and the official has the last word. Even if it was a trap, it was well done.
There's a reading pattern here by Solomon. It's a zone, so he stops his pattern and doesn't go through with it and just turns up in between the zones. Montana reads that, got it to him a bit low.
When Freddie Solomon came back in that game against the Rams, he signaled that the offense was going to start hitting on everything. Quite a receiver and a great man on the sidelines with his feet. 2nd down and 10. Montana's changing this one. Tyler moves back. They reset. Both backs stay in. They're expecting the blitz. Wide open is Solomon. He has it at the 35. The 8th touchdown of the year for Solomon. I don't see any flags. A 64-yarder.
It's the 2nd time in 2 weeks Montana has audibled and came with a touchdown off the audible. Last week it was to Solomon, and this week it's to Solomon again. 2 weeks in a row.
A 64-yarder. They saw the blitz, and Atlanta gave it away too early.
But they brought the safety, Kenny Johnson. Montana suspected it from a pre-snap read. Butler couldn't keep up with Solomon. He went down wide open. Montana put it on the money, and there's your 6 points.
Freddie's longest one so far was a 60-yard touchdown catch. He beat that one by 4 yards in a hurry. He's a good mudder, too. Here's Mo Worshie having some trouble with his kicks warming up because of the mud, the clay of Georgia. Montana's holding the 10. How quickly. The team that's averaging 28 points a game on offense and only allowing 14 a game on defense. 49ers 7, Atlanta 3.
They got to get a win here today to do that.
The Falcons have lost 7 in a row, so they're going to pull everything out. At least that would be our assumption. Riggs takes a stutter step. Use the power to get out over the 20 to the 22-yard line. This young man is very impressive. He has done everything and more this year. Having to take over for Andrews is not an enviable job. This town, they love him very much.
Riggs over 1,000 yards and averaging 4.4 every time he carries the ball. He said he's learned a lot this year playing so much. He was uncertain earlier in the year. He said the main thing that's helped him is listening to the line calls up front so he knows how the line is blocking.
Riggs has 23 yards on 5 carries. And it is an off-track. Play-action pass. Morosky going outside. Good throw at the 29-yard line. Number 87, Cliff Benson, has it. Morosky looks like he's throwing the ball extremely well considering its heavy humidity.
He's been around a while. And Dan Henning said, you know, his judgment, it's the same judgment as Bartkowski. As you look at the isolated replay here, that's Tommy Holmoe who will eventually get out and make the hit. But Morosky, not the arm Bartkowski has, but a little bit more mobility, and Henning said it's probably kind of a trade-out.
Played his college ball at Cal Davis, came out the same year that Joe Montana happened to be at Notre Dame. 6th-round choice for the Falcons. First down carry goes. Riggs gets his block and gets to the 39-yard line. Riggs did just what Wayne Walker was explaining. He's beginning to find the hole and follow his blockers. And he's got a good offensive line.
Yes, he does. And what I was talking about was the fact that almost every play, the offensive lineman up there, whether it be a center or the guard and tackle between them, will take a look at the defensive line and make a call because they have different blocking schemes for different plays. And Rick said he's been listening to that, and it's helped him a lot.
Morosky now has 2 of his first 3 for 54 yards. And on second down the yard, he really, literally can do anything in the book. He gives it to the big man behind him. Going to be close. Stacked up as the 49ers got belly to belly and back to back and did a good job of that short yardage defense. Tuiasa Sopo and Fawnhorse in there. Fawnhorse might be one of the real finds for the 49ers this year, coming from the USFL, the little brother of the great tackle.
Yeah, and he says he's a little bit sore right now. This is his 35th game of the year because he played that whole year in the USFL, and now he's lining up here, and he's got a few bumps and bruises.
He's going to have to take a rest. How many leagues can you play in? First down. Just by the tip of the football. It's sort of a psychedelic look to the field today because the lights are turned on and the rain is coming down. Here's that losing streak. The Giants, the Rams, Pittsburgh, Washington, New Orleans, Cleveland, Cincinnati. This Atlanta team is 1-3 in the AFC Central Division. That's, of course, where the 49ers are 3-1.
I think the key thing there is 14 points, their highest total in any of those games.
I always think if you're going to lose them, you might as well lose them big. First and 10, Morosky dancing and chased out. Oh, hit very hard to the 39-yard line. And he gets up quickly.
That's got to be a Ricky Ellison hit.
Ricky Ellison had a 10-yard run, and the quarterback had to act like he wasn't hurt even if he was.
I tell you, Ellison just flies to the ball. This is the mobility that we talked about with Morosky. Pretty good job downfield initially by the 49ers. No one is open. Watch Ellison there on the drop. He's got Morosky keyed in. Watch him here now. Just like he's a train on a track. He's not moving. Morosky better.
Ricky Ellison's 53rd solo tackle. He's been in on 87. Some young linebacker. Got those steely eyes.
Boy, he only knows one speed, that's for sure.
Looks like he could put it all in the hard 8. Boy, he's a tough guy. Riggs with 33 yards on 7 carries. Straight handoff to Gerald. Lynn Kane, number 21, is in there. Boy, here's a great all-purpose back out of SC a few years ago. He used to be sort of the blocker for Andrews when they had the two-back system here.
And when Riggs went out with an ankle injury earlier this season, Kane came in and his first start went over 100 yards, so he's capable.
3 touchdowns he scored earlier against the Rams. Dallas leading Philadelphia, a big NFC East battle in the city of brotherly love. And I'll tell you, they don't like the America's team in that town at all. St. Louis 7, New England nothing in the first quarter. St. Louis is still a team to think about. They could beat anybody on that one particular day. The dash left by Morowski on 3rd down and 15. Complete. I think it's complete. No, it's called no good at the San Francisco 43-yard line. Bailey thought he had it. Good coverage by Wright.
Stacey Baylor, Bailey, the top receiver for the Falcons, with 52 catches coming in today, and right there, number 21, Eric Wright with him, probably the 49ers' best cover man, as good as anybody in the league, and he is right there. What a fine play. Got a hand on the ball and jiggle it just enough to pop it out of there.
And Stacey Bailey has like a 39-inch vertical leap. He is one of the great jumpers in this league. Jock Amaro used to play for Joe Paterno at Penn State. He outkicks his coverage sometime, and McLemore is number 2 in the NFC. Look out here. Pretty good punt by Jock Amaro. McLemore's going to have a run back at the 19. McLemore breaks some tackles. He's pulled out from behind at the 35. Dana McLemore almost took one to the end zone.
Dana McLemore really gets it done, doesn't he, Brooke? We've talked about him before. A 10th round draft choice out of Hawaii, and he was a real find.
Took one back against the Giants all the way. 4-yard pass play, Montana to Freddie Solomon. 1st and 10 now, out on the 35. Play action pass. Montana quickly in the flat. To number 33, Craig has it. Just short of midfield at the 49-yard line. Craig steps out. Richardson sort of shoved him there. Don't forget, NFL football next Saturday on CBS. The Vikings meet the NFC Western Division champions, the San Francisco 49ers. It all starts with the NFL today at 12:30 Pacific time. The 49ers and the Vikings next Saturday on CBS. First down. The first down pass. Craig with over 500 yards receiving out of the backfield. He loses maybe a half a yard as Fry came up quickly, the young linebacker, to tackle him there. What a number 2 choice. Everybody thought the report coming out of Nebraska was that he didn't play his senior year very well, fumbled the football at times.
They didn't know whether he could catch the ball or not because they don't throw it around at Nebraska. He's just their leading receiver right now, Roger Craig is, with 58 catches coming in today.
And he's responsible for a lot of those numbers. 3rd in the rush, 2nd in the pass, 1st in total offense in the NFC. Some football team. 2nd down and 9 on the 49. Montana's changing the play again. Ring is in there. Ring is out of the back, over Ring he throws, and complete at the 45-yard line. Dwight Clark down on his hands and knees to mop that one up.
You know, we talk so much about Montana's physical abilities. Is he audibleized here? He thought there might be a blitz coming. There was not, so Clark ran an out pattern, a short out pattern. Montana right on the money with it in front of Butler over there. But Montana's mental capacity is getting to the point where Bill Walsh said if he and I took a test on the offensive system, he would probably outscore me. He said, I design plays and then I forget them.
That's dangerous. Maybe Montana wants to coach later. Montana's 3 of 4 for 83 yards. 3rd down and 4. Montana being chased and sacked. Good rush. And this offensive line had allowed him to be sacked only 20 times before this one. Harris made contact, and I think Rick Bryan was in there too, number 77. Montana held on to the ball. Usually he unloads it. That's what we just told you. Now it's 21 times. Still far below the normal quarterbacking situation. Almost blocked. Runniger gets it off end over end. It bounces at the 20-yard line inside the Atlanta 20. Virgil C. lets it roll dead there. And the Atlanta defense came up with a sack, something they haven't done much of. It's 7-3, San Francisco. Guess not.
You see it right here now. Nothing downfield. That's where he wants to go. And This is just a safety valve, and you see it. Part of the reason that Riggs isn't in there a lot on passing situations.
Yeah, he didn't get turned around so that he could accept that ball easily. That was not a lateral. It was a little bit forward. Young backs sometimes do not realize that. Here's the quick draw play. Riggs gets to the 20-yard line. Good defense. There's big Mike Kinn, number 78. That is a humongous offensive line.
Well, Mike Kinn, whenever they get in a passing situation, Mike Kinn usually lines up opposite Fred Dean, and over the past couple years, he's handled Dean as well as anybody has, better than anybody, I would say, and it's always a real battle, and we'll be peeking in on that one for you from time to time.
We were out of practice on Saturday, and this bunch, Kinn and his compadres were playing volleyball and tearing the goalpost down almost over at the practice. So I side out at Sewanee. Big Hands Johnson is in there. Helcher's in there. Here comes the four-man rush. Borowski gets the protection, gets it over to Cox. It's going to be short of the first down. At least it looks like it is from here, but it's close.
You may have to measure it. That time they took Fred Dean, who normally lines up at right defensive end, had him over at the left to get him away from Ken. Dwayne Board was opposite Mike Ken that time.
Keena Turner, he plays so efficiently that sometimes you don't give him calls, and he's in on a lot of tackles, assisting people every game. Keena Turner. In fact, when you're trying to pick Pro Bowlers from the 49ers, it's a difficult job because you could darn near pick the squad.
What do you do when you've lost 7 in a row here, Berkey? Fourth down.
Yeah, they've gone for fourth down a lot this year. They're not going to go. It looks like the kicking team is going to come in very much in the football game at 7-3. I think it's a very wise decision, especially with the rain coming down. It's coming down hard again. Giacomora's in.
There could be some trickery, too. You always got to, in this situation with just a few inches to go, trying to make them running out of there. I'm sure the 49ers are alert to that.
McLemore on his own 33. Giacomora looking around. Everybody with wait-see attitude. Here's the kick. An average kick. Again, it's a very wet turf. McLemore fumbles the football. It's a muff. That is a muff. It cannot be advanced by Atlanta, but it can be recovered for possession. It's a muff, but it can be recovered for possession, but not advanced.
Oh, that ball was drifting down away from Dana McLemore. Giacomoro didn't get the point turned over. It wasn't a perfect spiral, and as it was coming down, it was coming away from McLemore. He really couldn't catch up with it.
Number 32 came up with it. That's Tyrell, the young special teamer.
Watch this right. Here's a guy who I think has as good a hands as anybody in the National Football League. Fielding, he's supposed to look at. He just doesn't quite get there with it. It's drifting away from him.
It is a muff. McLemore almost got it back. Yeah. Somebody kicked it under him on the rebound down at the bottom.
It's about 7-1 red shirts over white shirts there, though, and they did come up with it.
There's Tyrell, young special teamer. Oh, he's saying, hello there, Mom. 1st and 10. Borowski, very cool at quarterback. Looks like he knows what he's got going today. He's going deep. Oh, intercepted in the end zone. Mario Clark measured it, juggled it, and then intercepted it. Trying for Alfred Jackson.
Nice coverage, too, by Mario Clark. And as we said, with Ronnie Lott hurt, Dwight Hicks had to move back into his safety position from the corner where he was playing, and teams have been going to this area right here. Clark with a good cushion on Jackson, who's not a real burner. Mario Clark, of course, is getting some help on the inside there from Dwight Hicks, and they played it perfectly. Good job by the cornerback.
Mario Clark's first interception of the year, but that's the 11th 49er that has come up with an interception. They play team football. It's 7-3. At Fulton County Stadium. And it's wet. 1:49 left in the first quarter. 7-3 San Francisco lead. Solomon on the reverse. Solomon with blockers out in front. And he fumbles the football, and it's out of bounds. San Francisco's going to maintain possession. Kenny Johnson almost had the fumble recovery. He has been all over the field for Atlanta this year, number 37.
Yes, he has. And the 49ers don't use a lot of gimmick plays. It's funny, though. They opened up the game last week against the Saints with the same play, a reverse to Solomon. Hand off like it's a sweep, and then to Solomon. Now, Montana's back there looking like he's looking for a flea flicker. He's usually out in front blocking here. Johnson over and almost had control of it.
And when you're 12-1 as things go, he made yardage on the fumble, Solomon did. Montana going knocked away at the last minute by Bobby Butler, intended for Ronaldo Nehemiah, and he was streaky.
It's a great play by the cornerback Butler, who can make plays like that. The rap on him is that he's just a little bit inconsistent out there at the corner. But I'll tell you, when Nehemiah comes in a game and you know his speed and he's in there with a clean uniform on, I think you should have one thing in mind when you're a cornerback. This guy's probably going to go deep on me, and I'll protect against that. Butler did. Nehemiah says that his problem is he doesn't get in the game long enough, that stretch of a time to set the backs up at all. Usually when he goes in there, they run him deep like that, or a medium pattern of about 15 yards.
Maybe you can do something later because you've stretched that defense and shown him such speed. Tyler on the outside gets around the corner and is knocked out of bounds at the 49 and slides almost under the Atlanta bench. That's young Scott Case, the Oklahoma draft choice, the rookie.
Boy, he's a hitter. They drafted him number 2 and said he's a hitter. He's been playing more and more the past couple of weeks. He had 13 tackles last week, filling in for Pridemore. In fact, I think it's kind of a situation where they're phasing out the veteran Pridemore. Niners get around the corner in good shape. And then Tyler takes the hit right there from Case.
A legal shot. He didn't throw the flipper that time. Tyler has 31 yards on 3 carries and perhaps a headache after that last shot. It's young Case. 1st and 10. Right at midfield. Call it the 50. Quickly dumps it in the flat. Cooper takes it. Montana was looking downfield and at the last moment just changed his direction with that ball.
He just knows where everyone is on the field. It's part of that mental thing that we were talking about. He knows where everyone is at all times out there, and he can look downfield. He told me last year that was the thing he wanted to improve the most on, was his eye work, where he could be looking downfield and then right at the final second, even as he's in his stride, swing his head and eyes around to where he's going to throw and hold it till the last minute and freeze the defensive backs. And you just saw a perfect example of it there, because he went over to Cooper at the very last split second.
The numbers on Montana's day. He started slowly a week ago against New Orleans when it was a close game at half. And this defense keeps you in any ball game. And then he broke out in the second half. Inside the 35 goes Roger Craig. College basketball next Saturday on CBS at 10 a.m. Pacific time. Nevada, Las Vegas, one of the top teams in the West, will come east for a showdown with the defending national champions, the Georgetown Hoyas and Patrick Ewing. That's 10 a.m. Pacific time next Saturday on CBS. Love that college basketball. Here we go, 2nd down and 5. Closing seconds of the first quarter. Actually, you got a minute on the first quarter. 64-yard bolt. Montana to Solomon. That's all she wrote, 7-3. Inside, the quick draw. Tyler is hit hard at the 34.5-yard line. Buddy Curry met him helmet to helmet.
Buddy Curry, we talked with him out at the Falcons practice yesterday, Berkey, and one of the most frustrated young guys that you're ever going to see. He's a great player and a good competitor, and this has just been a miserable season for him. He said, this is the toughest year I've ever had. There's just nothing to look forward to.
Remember we said, well, if you had these secret team meetings, he said, I'd rather not talk about it. I have a feeling that they're scrapping a little bit, maybe, you know? Think so, Wayne?
I think so.
That happens when you're 3 and 10. Somebody's got to pay for it. 3rd down and 5. Montana out in the flat. That's Craig inside the 25, inside the 20. Craig to the 11-yard line. How many ways can San Francisco hurt you? About every way you can do it in football. A 23-yarder, a fight breaks out down at the far end near the end zone line. And the crowd seems to enjoy this ball game. Raining on.
Well, these two teams have never gotten along. And we're seeing a continuation of that today. That's the second fracas that Clark has been in.
I don't think you should get along. I like two teams that for 3 hours in the afternoon don't like each other at all. Okay, after 1 quarter, San Francisco threatening. They only lead 7-3. Atlanta, the 49ers are threatening, and I'll tell you one thing they've proven to me, no matter what the track is, this good football team, they just get on with it, whatever it is. Montana, quickly now. He's going to run with it. Montana runs out of bounds and leaves everybody in his wake. And that'll make some defensive backs mad. They're saying to him, don't come around here, big fella. You may be on the cover of a lot of magazines, but that doesn't impress us in the secondary.
I remember Bill Walsh told us about Montana. He said that when he said, I saw Montana for the first time, I went down and I worked him out in Los Angeles. And you asked him, he said, well, how was his arm? And he said, well, his arm was okay, but what impressed me was his feet.
He knew that the feet, huh?
Yeah.
He knew that that was what? That was the quarterback.
That was the key.
What a second-round pick in '79, huh? It's got to be one of the great selections of all time. The sprint out, the pass, the touchdown.
Blown coverage.
Clark just took it in, made it look easy. Buddy Curry was the only person for Atlanta that was even close.
Yes, no one near him, no, and really no one near him. Watch Montana sprint out on this one, and here is Clark. Montana will be coming to the right. Lots of blown coverage. I think they thought Montana was going to roll out and keep running, and they just left Dwight Clark all alone, and Montana will find him.
A 10th round draft choice, who's one of the best receivers in the game, gets his 4th touchdown catch. His 5th touchdown reception, pardon me. He's another one of those good all-around football players that abound on this San Francisco team. Werge's extra point is good, and suddenly it's 14-3. Watching Joe Montana get his 22nd and 23rd touchdown pass of the year. A lot of people are talking Marino this and Marino that, and if Miami should happen to come to Palo Alto and meet San Francisco, that would be a classic duel indeed. That's called the Super Bowl. That's Curran at the 6. Curran nailed at the 21-yard line. Good coverage as Walter, number 99, was down there, knocked himself a little woozy. He may be going to the wrong bench. 9 plays to go 80 yards. And the 6-yard clincher. A nail if something goes wrong with this offense. The Falcons must be very careful about fumbling or turning that ball over for this quarter. Morosky is the young quarterback. His 3rd start of this year. Bartkowski may never play again. He's going to decide that himself. From the 20. Morosky on the swing left. Just gets it in between people. Almost intercepted.
Fonhorst was there, 55, the linebacker, and he extremely close to it. As you said, Morosky not a bit careful with that ball because he was trying to throw to his move back, that H-back that came all the way across the formation, Cliff Benson, and he was not open.
There's Van Note. He has been playing since '69, which includes 4 presidents of the United States.
He's playing with a broken hand, too, right now, and it's on his right hand, and the hand that he snaps with at center. And he says it hurts every time I snap it. He's still got some pins in there, and he said, but I had to come back and play because I got to show these young guys on the team that that's what it takes.
The people that are long in the tooth. Stidder, but he's not a player, he's a kicker. Hart, 40, and Jeff Van Note, a Pro Bowler at 38. Out in the flat, good throw by Morosky. Hit hard at the 30-yard line. Alfred Jackson was hit by Mario Clark. It's going to be pretty close to the sticks, but I believe it's short. Thought I just heard the rumble of a lightning bolt go by. It has been raining for about 2 hours. These people packed it up and came to the ballpark anyway. For some reason, I feel like the Atlanta Falcons, when they lost in the last quarter in 1980, the playoff game to Dallas, I felt like for some reason the heart of this team sort of went with that Dallas victory that day. Henning's trying to bring it back. 3rd down and a long one. Morosky throwing on 3rd and short. Incomplete, closely covered. Number 21 was right on the back, Eric Wright, on Bailey's back. Eric Wright can really go man-to-man and play a solo.
Well, we mentioned earlier that we think he's the best cover man in the league, and most receivers now are saying that. I know Chris Collinsworth made that statement a couple weeks ago. And what they do is they leave him over here on single coverage a lot, and that's tough on a quarterback, but they can do that, and it allows them to do some things on the other side of the field and in the middle because they count so much on his ability to cover, like you saw right there. They ask a lot of him, and he responds.
That was the great draft of '81. Lott, Williamson, and Eric Wright. All-pro secondary in one swoop. Giacomo now kicking out of the mud. He gets a good punt off, and he's not roughed. At the 29-yard line, McLemore. He goes back now. He goes straight ahead. McLemore out to the 43-yard line and carrying some red shirts with him. He seems to wait and gather himself, and people go on by him. A 14-yard return. He was the assistant for Gibbs. The offense is the same. The results not quite the same, but his first year he was 7-9. This year he looked like he had all the pieces when he lost all of his skilled great players. Tyler bending in, getting outside, and somehow manages to pick up 4 yards. Kenny Johnson making about his 5th tackle already, he and Kuykendall. Scores from elsewhere. That's still 7-0, the same margin in that second quarter. In Philadelphia for the NFC East. Dallas hangs in there, and they're stretch runners. St. Louis now 14-3 over New England. The Jets and the Giants, no score. Not at halftime yet. Buffalo, 21, Irsay 2. Second down and 6. Harmon is in there. He's in motion to toss. Back to Craig. Craig gets to the outside and is caught at the 37 by Pridemore, and he was heading for the ranch.
Well, I'll tell you, Fawnhorst just wiped out almost the entire right side of the Atlanta line that time. Randy Cross came out on the pull, and with Craig behind him, and watch Randy Cross right to the right of Montana, the guard here. On the toss, there's a toss to Craig. Now, somebody would usually show up right here, but look at Fawnhorst, who got the entire line sealed off inside. Cross goes out, gets the block, and Craig isn't touched until he's 15 yards downfield.
A 14-yard burst. He's averaging almost 4 yards a carry. He came in with 509 yards rushing and 576 receiving. You talk about balance. Here's Tyler. The 1,000-yarder just does get over the 40. Number 73 came over quickly, playing some defense. That's Burley. He is burly.
290 pounds, and they say he's quick. Is there such a thing?
Bryan, number 77, is the Oklahoma All-American. But he's tied. He came in tied for the leadership on this defensive team with tackles. How you do that from the inside position is hustle.
He runs all over the field. John Ayers says he's got a good motor.
Ayers is something. The Carrizo Springs kid, the big left guard for the San Francisco 49ers. Play action pass. Montana now screening back. This is Cooper. Cooper gets a good block, but a good defensive play holds him at the 36-yard line. James Britt came up.
Okay, that's one of the good defensive plays that you'll see all year. James Britt over there at the cornerback. They pulled a guard on him because it was a quick screen, and it was Ayers coming out, and he was giving away almost 100 pounds, and took Ayers on and held his ground and made the stop. Excellent play by James Britt.
And a very tough play to defense. When you roll away and screen back, it really puts the pressure on that back, because he can make one mistake and somebody like Cooper's gone. Third down and 8 on the 37. The lights are on in Atlanta. Montana, good third down quarterback. He's got a wide open receiver. Cooper takes it, falls to the 10-yard line. Montana had him in his sights all the way down there. Richardson was covering him, but no way.
Cooper's in motion. That's him right across the formation. You just saw it go behind Montana. Montana looks out here and spots Cooper on the linebacker, so stays with him all the way, doesn't look anywhere else, and makes a perfect throw. There's not very many linebackers in the league can stay up with Earl Cooper. Remember, he came into this league as a running back.
27-yard strike. A good adjustment on the throw by the guy they call Coop back at Candlestick Park. 3 receptions for 37 today. And the 49ers are down there knocking again. It's amazing. Inside handoff. Tyler. And you can hear the contact all the way to back row of the ballpark. Kuykendall met Tyler right in the hole. Two old UCLA friends.
You bet. Kuykendall has been around here for almost 10 years now at Atlanta. He came, I think, in the same draft that brought Steve Bartkowski here. And they used to call him Captain Crunch. He used to play behind Tommy Nobis, but they called him Captain Crunch when he was on the special teams. And after Nobis retired, Kuykendall went to the middle and played extremely well. And now his spot's been taken by Curry, but he plays a lot in the short yardage.
He's a beast. He loves short yardage, which shows you what kind of a personality we're talking about. This is Craig. Craig inside the 5, and now he's run out of bounds at the 5. Pridemore coming from the safety position, and Kenny Johnson spotted at about the 5. 16 of the last 18 road games. Of course, they're perfect this year. Huh?
Yeah, take that a step further. They've won 22 of their last 25 going back to that Super Bowl season.
It's not 81. It's not like they don't win at home either.
No. And like you said, on any kind of turf, because they had a bad day in Cleveland. And Cleveland thought it was their kind of weather. And the 49ers really handed it to them.
This team could have played in any era. They are football players. 3rd down and 5. Montana dancing. Touchdown. Flags are down, however. While flags are down in the end zone, John Frank caught it. But the flags are down. Tunney is going to negotiate this call. Here it is.
Pass interference, offense, 86.
That was John Frank who caught the ball, pushed off more than likely. Let's take a peek at the rookie who has been getting a lot of playing time lately because of the injury to Russ Francis. Russ practiced for the first time this week, should be back. He got a good release. Boy, how can that happen down on the goal line? Runs an in pattern. That's Johnson right there with him. Get out of my way. A little push off. You saw it. Legitimate call. Johnson goes down. But I'll tell you, the youngster right there, he's a rough. That's the way he plays. That's the way he blocks. He's a rough, tough young guy.
Learned how to push off at Ohio State, I'm sure. Receivers get away with that a lot. This time the official, Tunney's crew, was right on top of it. Good call. 3rd down and goal. Overthrow and intercepted in the end zone by Pridemore. The ball should not have been thrown as Pridemore stayed in the middle and Solomon was never open on the pattern.
Tommy Pridemore, free safety here for 7 years for Atlanta. Led the secondary in tackles the last 6 years. Not a real fast guy, but has always been steady and a real tough customer. And he's just lurking back here playing a center field right now and can't believe his eyes. Thought about coming out, but then thought better of it.
Pridemore's 2nd interception of the season.
From another angle now, if Montana could have delivered the ball about 2 counts earlier. Solomon was open at that time, but he waited a bit too long, and Pridemore capitalized.
Should take that game ball with him. Montana's only had 9 this season. Here's Riggs going outside. Gerald Riggs, the power runner, with speed, gets to the 24. Call it the 25-yard line. Now, number 42 looks like he is fast, and he is. He's a 4.45 guy in the 40 at 230. He did just about everything you could do, but he hasn't learned how to pick up blitzes sometimes. He hasn't seen all the formations that a very sophisticated team can throw. Andrews is rehabbing the badly torn up knee that he had in preseason, and they're not sure about Andrews' status for the next 3 or 4 years. Inside handoff, Riggs knocking people aside, gets out over the 30, and I mean he ran over a couple.
Yeah, and they get the job done pretty well over there on that side of their line with Mike Ken and R.C. Tillman, 2 Pro Bowlers, Ken at tackle and Tillman at the left guard.
There's a flag back on the 40-yard line. It was dropped behind the defensive formation of San Francisco, and they're moving the sticks against San Francisco. It's not raining quite as heavily. It looks like a face mask.
Face mask, number 79, 5 yards. Distance makes it the 1st down.
Stuckey found a face mask attached to his hand by mistake. Riggs with 48 yards on 10 carries. 1st and 10. From the 38, Morosky's throw quickly. Alfred Jackson has it. The clock continues to roll at the 43.5-yard line. Hit by Mario Clark.
Isolated here. Now you see Mario Clark with a big cushion on the receiver, and that's a pretty good way to play the cornerback spot, especially when they've been picking on you a little bit. And the best you can do and you hope to do is you be making the contact just as soon as the ball gets there. Now the ball is caught and Mario's a little late, so he's playing with a little bit too much cushion out there.
Jackson with 3 catches for 62 yards. That time the Atlanta offensive line blocked that defense very well. This is Riggs into San Francisco territory to the 47-yard line. Dwayne Board got a ride. This guy's quiet, very sincere. I asked him what year of his contract he was on. What did he say, the 3rd year of a 3-year job? I have a feeling he's going to write a pretty good number for himself. The offense for Atlanta, 8th in rushing, 10th in passing, 11th total, and that's in the NFC. That is not good. The numbers on San Francisco are extremely good. Flags are down. Riggs runs it out, but the flags were dropped early. This 49er defense, 14 points a game. That's what they allow on the average. You can win a lot of football games, you're only giving up 14.
4 of those games, they didn't allow a touchdown. 4 of the games they've played.
And of course, San Francisco is 12-1. Only Pittsburgh sneaked up on them, and at that time, Wergin had a chance really to tie that game.
Motion, offense, 5 yards.
Walsh talked about that yesterday. He said, yeah, we really let that game, they ran the ball a little bit better than we expected them to. Pittsburgh did, and you know, we just sort of ran out of time at the end of the game. But they have been in every contest, obviously. 102 times for Atlanta. High on the list.
Every time they bring Fred Dean in here in the nickel situation, they've been lining him up away from Mike Ken, the left tackle, and over on Dan Dufour, who's making, I think, his first start.
It's first down and 15 on the 37. Outside and awake. Alfred Jackson takes it. Eric Wright had pretty good position, but that was a good pass and catch.
That's a great throw. Jackson's been around a while. He's 6 years, and he's a smart receiver. Had the best day of his career just last week with 7 catches.
What kind of gloves are those that they're wearing out there? You know?
Here's Dean. Now look at this. Now they got him over here against Dufour, and they're giving him help with the back here. But look what he still did. Look at these guys go right back into Morosky. He moves the pile with strength, and he's only 230 pounds, and he doesn't lift weights.
Amazing. Second down and 2 on the 40. Slot man almost moved, but he came back rigid. This is Riggs straight ahead. Short of the first down, I believe. Pillars making good contact. Tried to run behind the Pro Bowl tackle, Ken, the #1 draft out of Michigan.
Well, Mike Ken, we talked about him being a Pro Bowler. He went through 1 entire season without having a penalty on him, and he's only had 2 penalties called on him this year. There he is, number 78. Bricky and I thought that he was kind of a slender guy, and I think, you know, at one time, but he's packed about 20 more pounds on his body in the last 2 years, and he's lost 11% body fat.
Third down and 2. The toss back to Riggs. Gets a good block on the outside. Riggs inside the 35 to the 30-yard line. Holmo barely able to stop the big one there. Jackson looks like he's hurt.
Might have been Riggs that busted him at the end of the run. Riggs is 230 pounds, and he's the fastest player on this squad. Check it here. Tina Turner, number 58, is tied up. Todd Shell, number 90, can't get over. With Riggs' speed, he's tough to catch once he gets around.
64 yards for Riggs on 13 carries. There's Jackson. They're working with him on the sidelines. Meanwhile, Riggs goes back to work. He dances. Now he gets hemmed in and puts it back up. Good defense by San Francisco. They strung the play out. Scores from the action around the league, especially the NFC East, 7-3. Eagles got a field goal before halftime. They're still in that game with Dallas. St. Louis 17-3.
The Giants now leading the Jets. They score 7-0 in the second quarter.
Giants and Dallas and Washington all nodded.
The Giants are the visiting team in that game, and it's their stadium.
Confusing, isn't it? The crowd happy about the offense, I suppose. Inside trap play. Riggs gets inside the 25 to the 24. They were trying to do a wave in the stadium, we're told. A wet one today because it has been raining constantly.
It's going to be a very sporadic wave here today.
It's third down and 3 on the 24. That's Riggs that's down. He's being attended to as the wave continues. 14-3 San Francisco. We'll be right. Man out of Arizona State. He had 200 and some odd yards rushing the opening day against New Orleans. He's over 1,000, and the people are whooping it up. The wave continues. A damp one. It's third down, and call it 3 on the 24.5. Morowski back to throw. Reception. Inside the 15 to the 14 goes Stacey Bailey. Mario Clark
taking advantage once again of the fact that that cushion that Mario Clark plays with over on that side. He's playing cautious and playing safe and giving him the pass in front. That's not a bad way to play cornerback. A lot of guys have stayed in the league a long time by letting him catch that ball in front of him. Dick LeBeau was one that I played with for 14 years, played that way a lot. Pat Fisher, another guy for the Washington Redskins, played that way. They don't make a lot of big plays, but you don't get beat deep too much.
And you play percentages. They're not going to catch them all.
Takes a lot of those to beat you.
First and 10 for Atlanta, just inside the 15-yard line. Riggs falls and crawls to the 14. Let's set that defense. Pillars is in there. Louis Kelcher is in there. Kelcher has got to be 330 pounds.
He's got a zip code all his own.
Number 94 in the middle of your screen. Look at this defensive stats. 190 points. That breaks down to 14 4/10 a game. The crowd now thinks they are somewhat responsible. Riggs' rushing game is what's responsible for this drive. Second down and 10 on the 14. The motion. Borowski now dashing out to the right. Trying for the end zone and knocked away by Mario Clark. And the flags are down. They were late. Stacey Bailey, the intended receiver. The flags were late.
Pass interference, defense, number 29, ball on the 1-yard line.
I originally thought it looked like a pretty good play by Mario Clark. Let's take a look, see what you think. We've got it isolated for you. Number 82 is Stacey Bailey. We talked about Clark's cushion. He did see, and he didn't have to go for that move because he's got the cushion there. Now let's see if he hits him with his body or disrupts it in some way. He's around fighting for the ball. I don't know. I just don't know. I think they got to let that go. That's nothing worse than being under the boards in the NBA right there, and this is football.
And he was going for the ball. Anyway, it's first and goal, and the fans love it. 14-3 game. Morowski being clobbered at about the 2. Tuiasosopo.
They thought they knew something. They're going to bootleg over here, but watch Dwight Hicks, number 22, show up right here, and he seals it. Good play by the safety.
And Tuiasosopo got out there in a hurry from the nose. Everybody seems to fit on this 49er team. They play their position. And they play it well. It's second and goal on the 2. High formation. Morowski. Back to Riggs. Touchdown, Atlanta. Are there any flags? The crowd doesn't see any. Van Note clearing the way for the 230-pound running back. The 12th touchdown rushing for Gerald Riggs. That's That's a runaway freight.
Yes, it is. Well, he's just going to get better and better, too. As we said, you know, this is his 3rd year in the league, but he hasn't played a whole lot up until this season because he played mainly behind William Andrews, great Atlanta running back, who I know Ricky joins me in wishing him all the success in the world and trying to come back from a serious knee injury.
Not only a great player, but an honest player. Every day was a great day for Andrews. Luckhurst's extra point out of Morosky's hole is good, and we've got a football game.
Mike Ken, the big offensive tackle, clearing away, and the big effort by Riggs. When they need it, they usually go left. Here's another look at it from the vantage point. A reach block by Van Note, the center, did a good job, got some push. A good job up front, and the result is 6.
Expecting some Luckhurst magic of some kind. The 49ers have put McLemore and Harmon both in there, expecting maybe a short kick in the mud here. Luckhurst, the Englishman, kicks it out of bounds. He will try the next one from the 30. I think he might have been trying to drop that in there, trying to have somebody run in that area there.
I don't really think so. It's just so tough on soccer-style kickers on a field like this. You know, they can't go at it full speed because when they plant their leg to kick, it's at an angle, and it slips out from under them rather easily.
The NFC Eastern Division Scramble heats up next Sunday with a big CBS doubleheader. It all starts with the NFL Today at 9:30 Pacific time. Then the New York Giants take on the St. Louis Cardinals. In the second game, the Redskins and the Dallas Cowboys, and you know the fur will fly in that one. The big NFC East shootout doubleheader next Sunday right here on CBS. Tom Brookshire and Wayne Walker, and you're looking at Mick Luckhurst from Southbourne, England, who kicked at Cal, didn't he, just down at Berkeley? Huh?
Rugby player, too. You know, Atlanta's the 2nd most penalized team in the league, and Luckhurst is doing his part. He's got 2 penalties on him today for kicking out of bounds.
Piling on, huh? Kicking out of bounds. Here it is from the 30 now. Should be a run back. 2:55 on the clock. McLemore. Over the 30, McLemore breaks out. The 40. Luckhurst is going to get a chance and makes the play, forcing McLemore out of bounds. There's no better return man than I've seen. Nelms is great with Washington, but I'll tell you, Dana McLemore can play. 49-yard return.
Short kick that wasn't helped out by the fact that they were penalized 5 yards. Now McLemore with just great vision of the field. You can tell that on punts. The first man hardly ever gets a hand on him. He picks his way through right there. Takes it to the outside. Now watch Luckhurst. He's in it. It's a good thing that he's a former rugger because he's going to have to make a play here and shows pretty good speed.
Good play defensively by the kicker. The ball's on the 40-yard line. Montana back to throw right away. For Solomon, intended for Solomon, but badly overthrown. Does Montana have his flak jacket on today? I don't think he does.
Yeah, he does. You can see it there, and it's sticking out below the number and down a little bit lower. It's not wearing the one he wore earlier in the year when he had the rib injury, but this is a modified version. It's not quite as bulky as the other one.
This one comes out of Gentleman Quarterly, right?
Yeah, right. This one is tailored.
Classy man, number 16. Walsh liked the feet. Opponent secondaries do not like the arm. Montana's 8 of 12 for 150 and 2 touchdown passes. 2:37 left. Clock is there for you to see. Tyler's in motion. Flags are down. 30-second clock used up.
Not sure whether that was in or not.
Ball start, 71.
That's what it was. False start on Fahnhorst. You know, it's amazing that the 49ers don't come closer to that 30-second clock running it down than they do. They've got 80 pass plays and 40 runs in their game plan week to week, 120 plays. It takes a while to signal them in and get the information into Montana. They do a great job with it.
And a lot of motion and changing formations. It does get very complicated. It's 2nd down and 15, back on the 44. Fahnhorst for illegal procedure, a little bit of movement. Big blitz is on. 49ers picked it up, and he overthrows Solomon at the 15-yard line. Looked like Solomon got tangled up with James Britt at the 20.
Right here now, and he wants Solomon all the way. Now look at Montana. He had his head and eyes on Solomon all the time right there. Didn't look off. Thought he had 6 deep, but it didn't quite work out.
And this offensive line for San Francisco, they protect Montana like he's an expensive computer or something, don't they?
That's which he is.
Certainly. Fewest sacks in the NFC. They only had him down 16 times coming in, so it's +1 at 17. The blitz is on. This time they didn't protect him. And Fonhorst man came around the corner. Number 72, Province, got the 2nd sack for Atlanta today.
She did work from. He'll show up immediately left of your screen as Montana takes his drop. Here he comes. I don't know how he got it, whether they had a stunt or what they had on over there, but he came flying back.
Burgess C back to take this punt from Renninger. C at the 12. C is back at the 9. A little over 2 minutes left in the first half of a wet game, but a very heated one. A good exchange here. In the month of December, CBS Sports coverage of NCAA basketball will feature the nation's top teams. Next Saturday, Nevada, Las Vegas will head east for a showdown with the defending national champions from Georgetown. In 2 weeks, you'll see Georgetown host second-ranked DePaul. December 22nd from Madison Square Garden, UCLA taking on third-ranked St. John's. Some of the games you'll be seeing in December, the home of the NCAA championship, CBS Sports.
Well, I noticed a picture in one of the national magazines of Patrick Ewing and John Thompson, the Georgetown coach, and Thompson's bigger than Ewing.
Yeah, you know what, he used to play with Boston. He was a substitute for Bill Russell, and a pretty good one. Great coach. Riggs coming straight ahead. The Atlanta team has done something to San Francisco few other teams have done, though. They have run the football successfully.
Timeout, San Francisco. Number 1.
And if you do it without turning the ball over, sometimes you can keep the ball away from Montana's offense. That the equation should work out.
Strategic timeout there by the 49ers. They took it because there's 2 minutes, 3 seconds left on the clock. Well, I thought they took it strategically. They took it because of an injury. A lot of times with that kind of field position, they'll take it because the clock will stop again at the 2-minute mark. And Atlanta will have to run a play on it. If they hold them, then they'd have one more down and have to kick. And the 49ers would have good field position with a lot of time on the clock, but that was an injury timeout.
Walsh is worried because I believe that's Fonhorst down there, number 55. I can't quite see both numbers.
I think you're right.
And this young linebacker came from the USFL and figures prominently in the future plans of San Francisco.
Well, they're a little light there because Jack Reynolds is normally the starter, and he did not play last week and not in there this week because of a back injury. So if Fonhorst is out, that's going to leave him with just 2 inside linebackers, Ricky Ellison and Mike Walter. That's the law of averages, I suppose, catching up with Fonhorst. As we mentioned, this is his 35th game of the year because he played a full season with the Arizona Wranglers in the USFL.
That's under George Allen. That's 2 seasons right there.
There's Hacknell, and he's going to tell him I'll play, but I don't know whether they'll let him in there.
A lot of people here to see Jack Reynolds. Of course, he played at Tennessee, and I noticed a lot of people came down. Must be family.
Hack says, you know, I may not know when I don't have it anymore. Well, this doesn't look too good.
Fonhorst being wheeled off the field. Mike Pitts for Atlanta has a knee sprain, and they're sort of uncertain whether he'll come back.
See, the 49ers, you know, can go to the nickel defense now, and they don't have. There's Norv Hecker, the defensive coach, next to Bill Walsh, and he sends in all the defensive signals and makes all the defensive substitutions from there. And they've got about, I think at one time he said they had 90 different things that he could call, that he could signal in.
He's like an auctioneer over there. Dallas 7-3 in the second. St. Louis laying it on New England now, 27-3 before halftime. Giants 7, Jets nothing. 2 minutes and 3 seconds when this play started. Good catch at the 33-yard line by Alfred Jackson in traffic. That's something I hadn't seen Atlanta do much this year, the crossing pattern.
It's a post pattern right here to Jackson. Now Morosky will throw it right on the break. Like he's looking off. Very good job there. He throws it just as Jackson's turning and making the move into the short post in front of Mario Clark, and Atlanta is in business.
So this year, would that be enough for him? And he said, yeah. He said, what more could I ask for? But he didn't say he was not going to coach next year. He just said, what more could I ask for? 1st and 10. Morosky dumping it across the middle. Breaking tackles is Arthur Cox. Cox weighs 240 something. Gets almost to the 40-yard line. Mike Walter had to get both legs together to get him down.
Yeah, he's one of the biggest tight ends in the league, Berger. He's even bulked up some from that 240 that he weighed last year, and they're tipping him in now at about 255.
Remember Mitchell that used to play here?
Yep, Jim Mitchell, you bet.
What
Played
a
lot
great
of games
tight end he
him.
was.
Yes, he was.
1:49 left. It's 14-10 San Francisco. We got ourselves a football game. Down and 3 on the 40. 1:49 on your screen. Morosky now heading straight away. Goes Riggs. People are not going to like that. Good play by Mike Walter, the young linebacker from Oregon. Another great acquisition by McVay and the 49ers, young linebackers. The blitz is on. Morosky fumbles the football. This can be advanced. Dean caused the fumble. And Big Hands Johnson scores a touchdown. Are there any flags? No.
The San Diego connection. Big Hands Johnson, Fred Dean, both drafted on the same round, or rather in the same draft 10 years ago by San Diego.
Nobody laid a glove on Dean, did they?
I don't know, boy, he was back there fast.
He came from the left defensive end spot, Wayne. You explained they wouldn't put him over Ken all the time. They sort of turned him loose.
They haven't put him over there at all. Really just a couple of times. They don't want to neutralize him because they know Mike Ken does a pretty good job with him. So why neutralize your best player? They put him over against the young guy just in his second year, Dan Dufour out of UCLA, and you saw the result.
Cleveland 2 weeks ago had 11 sacks against Atlanta, and they worked that position hard. So is Dean today. Where's he? Out of Montana's hold. Perfect. And Big Hands Johnson very carefully scooped that ball up into those big hands, obviously for a reason he's nicknamed that. And he was off running for the Hall of Fame.
It's only the second defensive touchdown of the year for the 49ers. The first one came last week when Todd Shell got in there. So here Dean, he took an inside rush here. Actually, he was out on the tight end. Took an inside rush. Morosky didn't read it and dump it off. The tight end was looking for the ball. And here's Johnson, and there's just no red shirts at all around him, and he'll waltz in with Ricky Ellison guarding him from behind.
Did he spike it?
Let's see. I don't think so. He just cooled it. This whole hum, just another touchdown. He didn't want to get called for taunting back there.
Looked like a peanut in his hands, didn't it? 97. Swivel hipping his way to a touchdown. Don't forget scores and highlights of all the ball games with Brent and Irv, plus a special feature, Opportunity Knox. Obviously a story about Chuck Knox, the highly successful coach of Seattle and Buffalo and Los Angeles, wherever Chuck Knox has been. He has done an extremely fine job. Now we're looking at Wergin as he puts it up on the 35 with 1:21 on the clock. Kenny Johnson back to accept, and the crowd has sort of cooled off with that fumble and touchdown. This is Johnson at the 5. Johnson gets to the 24-yard line. That really puts a damper on any ideas you may have, that kind of a touchdown.
Yeah, it was a pretty strange situation, too. As I said, Fred Dean was in the game in the nickel defense. And usually line up on the tackle was lined up way wide that time on the tight end. And he just kind of let him go inside, and I think he expected once he went inside that Morosky would read it and then get the ball to him right away. Morosky didn't.
Tunney will tell us.
Kicking team, San Francisco offside on the kickoff. Number 43, re-kick, 5 yards.
McLemore, that's a pretty good sign when you're 12-1 coming into a stadium and you've got guys trying to be offsides on kickoff coverage. That is not a bad sign. 81 team, a pretty good football team, right? All they did was win the Super Bowl. They were averaging 114 yards. Look what 84 has on the rushing side.
Out there, their leading rusher that year was a guy named Ricky Patton.
157 this year. Look at that average per snap, 6.1. I don't know if I've ever seen that on a stat sheet this time of the year.
sure wouldn't want to play defense against them.
Every snap, they average 6.1. Kenny Johnson will get another shot. 49ers were offsides. Wergy will kick off from the 30. We got to talk to Mo some yesterday. Of all the kickers, these two here today may be the most normal. Luckhurst and Wergy. You know what I mean?
I know what you're saying, and I think
sound right?
I might have to agree with you. Yeah, good guys, both of them.
I mean, they don't have psychiatrists that travel with them. You know, some kickers really get paranoid. Here's the kick by Wergy. It's a good kick. Curran at the 9. Curran inhaled at the 23. Now they'll probably go to a nickel-type defense, anticipating 2 or 3 passes by a young quarterback who might be a little nervous. Mike Walter making another tackle. Six straight wins, then they lose, then they come back
and won 6 in a row.
That's a football team, and Walsh claims he doesn't do anything differently than other people, but he's extremely well organized. And he lets them have fun. Football is still fun for the 49ers. 1st and 10. Morosky dumps it over the middle. This is Riggs at the 36. He's got power. Todd Shell was dragged that time for a couple of yards. 21-10. Morosky now dumps it over again. This is Cox at the 45. Clock is running. Each team with 2 timeouts left. 2nd down and a yard. There's a 1st down. The flags are down as Riggs is collared at midfield by Shell. The flags were thrown on this side of the field where I think Stacey Bailey was trying to run a pattern. This is a very good officiating crew. Jim Tunney stays out of the way a lot. This crew's in the shadows all the time.
Yeah,
huh?
they do, and when they have to do the job here, they usually get it done extremely
Offsetting
quickly.
holding penalties, 61 offense, 29 defense. Play will be repeated.
Another good call. Offsetting penalties. Tunney likes to monitor the action, not control it. 27 seconds on that clock. A 1st down, or pardon me, 2nd down and 2 on the 50-yard line. Bailey and Hodge and Alfred Jackson. The toss. Riggs now looking for room. Run out of bounds by Shell. Todd Shell was an interesting interview for us yesterday.
Yeah, tremendous amount of composure, I think, for a young 22-year-old rookie, number 90, who has a lot of playing time here recently.
About what he said about BYU. He says nobody ever thought we played defense, but he said we've got a lot of good defensive players. He even said that he got married at such a young age that may have helped him in college because he went home at night.
Yeah, he was married all the way through college. He said it helped me. I'd go home and study. It helps me now. It's a very settling influence. Got a young son. He said just 22 years old. He was the 49ers' first draft choice this year.
What a future. He can run like a deer, too. Wait till he puts on that weight. 1st and 10. Morosky being pressured. Now dumps it over to Riggs. Riggs at the 45. He fumbles the football. Recovered by San Francisco. Atlanta has given up the ball 19 times now, and that's a lot of lost fumbles.
The good thing about that one is there's only 14 seconds left in the half. But Riggs with a real good effort and a fine catch, had to reach back and make this catch one-handed, and then was struggling for the extra yardage when he fumbled the ball after being hit. Watch it here, a little dump off. Look at the catch. Great adjustment by the running back that time. Now trying to split 2 tacklers right here, and the ball comes out.
Tackle by Clark, recovery by McLemore, and Montana's still in there. He gets a little pressure, still gets it out to Craig at the 41-yard line. Montana dumped that time. got a little mud on the back of that shirt, but he hasn't been rolled in it yet. The crowd a little deflated. It's still a football game. San Francisco 21, Atlanta 10. That's the end of the first half. San Francisco and trails 21-10. Here's Luckhurst's kickoff. This is Monroe. Monroe fumbles it at the 9-yard line. He picks it back up and now gets out and almost breaks out. Gets to the 14. Good coverage by Atlanta. A sea of red shirts came down. Kenny Johnson, the first one. Here are those first downs. Time of possession, Atlanta with 19:55 of it.
And look at the total yards too in the first half. I mean, it's not a wide margin, but it is more yards than the 49ers in that first game they played out at Candlestick Park. Atlanta outgained the Niners in that one.
Time of possession is a rather deceptive stat. You can't take that to the bank in January. Points. And this team scores more and allows fewer. The best differential in the entire National Football League. Toss back to Craig. Tyler's out in front block. Good defensive play. A loss of a couple. Richardson forcing from the outside.
Okay, we just got word on young Jim Fonhorst, who you saw leave the field, and it's a knee sprain with him, and he will not return. So it's not one of those real serious injuries, but it's probably keep him out for a while.
49 players are needed, especially if you get into the playoff situation in December. And this team is already there. They just want to play at Candlestick as often as possible. Look at the miscues. Atlanta with fumble for a touchdown run in. The important one. Second down and 10. Ball is on the 14-yard line. Tyler's in motion to the left. Montana's going for Clark. Clark overthrown at the 45-yard line of Atlanta. Remember, he has an 80-yarder that he had against Houston. He can go the distance.
Well, he's just a lot faster than people think. You know, he's 6'4", 215 pounds. That's James Britt up here, playing him right on the line, going to bump and run with him. And watch the big guy. And Brady said, give him a little out fake, and then he's got that big long stride, and it seems like he's picked up speed with each step he takes, and he's running as fast at the end of the game as he is at the start. He's got great stamina.
Montana's a little pumped up. He's overthrown about 3 people today. And any quarterback will tell you, if you're going to miss long and wide. San Francisco is 2 of 5 on third downs. It's 3rd and 9 right now. Looks like Montana's changing this one. Quick drop. And in and out of Clark's hands. He's not going to believe he dropped that. But it'll bring in Runniger for a punt.
Well, it was a touch behind him, but it's a catch that he'll probably make 98 out of 100 times. Now he's also wearing gloves in this ball game. Those are those kind of scuba diving gloves. It was a little bit behind him, and he made the adjustment, but couldn't come up with the ball.
Virgil C., the former Redskins, back on the Atlanta 45, and Runniger is kicking from the 5. Pretty average kick. C. at the 49 and falls forward to about the 47-yard line. A 33-yard punt. No return. But the Falcons have the ball, and they have it in San Francisco territory. That they've only managed to win 3. Morosky on first down. He's got time. It's blocked this time. Pillars came through, got a lot of penetration, and got the hands up. I believe he was working against Scully.
Jack Reynolds in the game for the first time, as we mentioned, young Jim Fonhorst out with a knee sprain, who was originally playing for Reynolds, who had been bothered by back spasms for about the past 9 or 10 days.
Hacksaw's having some trouble. He says, you mean I got to stay in here?
Am I in? Am I out? Am I up? Am I down?
Is this a passing situation or what? Jack Reynolds. When he came to San Francisco and they went to the Super Bowl, he gave them that maturity. He had been there. Second down and 10. This is Bailey. Bailey gets away. Steps out of bounds at about the 44-yard line. Big Hands Johnson was chasing him out.
Watch Mario Clark go flying by him here on this screen. One step like he's going to come down, and he comes back for the ball. Look at the lineman coming out. That's who Mario Clark wants to beat. He got by him, but tripped a little bit, went down, and look at the hustle by number 74, Fred Dean, coming out there. And Big Hands Johnson. They're all hustling, and Bailey wisely gets out of bounds.
Well, that's something when you get the behemoths to move laterally out there and get in on a screen play to a receiver like Bailey. Look at Bailey's numbers. 916. Needed 84 to go over 1,000. Third down and 6 on the 43. Morosky throwing it out, in and out of the hands. I believe it was Bailey over there.
It is, and is Eric Wright always there or not? Well, anytime they looks like they decide to go over there, he's just all over. He can cover. He can cover. That's Ronnie Lott, you know, who's injured right now and not playing. And he said, I said, what can you do to get better, you yourself? He says, I just wish I could cover like number 21 could cover downfield. He can sure do it. And he's out there, as you notice, once again, isolated all by himself.
It looks like he likes it. You know, you have to sort of have a fearless streak in you to play solo. Giacomo with that number 1 on that red jersey standing back there. A very sensitive Penn Stater. And boy, kicking. Watch his left foot. If it slides a little bit, you can get off a bad punt easily. And they worry about it. Time is called. These punting teams, by the way, the punt team actually has a lot of your better athletes on it. They have to be very fast. They have to be your linebackers and your DBs.
Those guys that go down on the outside on the punting team to really get worked over by the receiving team, too. Usually they put a couple guys out there on them to bump them and slow them down. It's a real battle within a battle.
Giacomo would like to kick it away from McLemore. He's already scared them several times. Once on a kickoff and once on a punt. They're going for the block. And they got it. The 49ers blocked the ball. They're trying to find it.
Looks like it might have been Bill Ring. I can't tell for sure.
Bill Ring took it right off Giacomo's foot.
Oh, they pumped through there. 3 of them back there. Ring was there and did a great job. Not only blocked it, but I don't think he ever lost control with it after he hit it. It was a mid-air block and catch by number 30. Check this out. Well, they're back there immediately. There's a drop. Ring's in the middle. He leaped up, got it in the breadbasket, and then stayed right with it.
And Giacomo took 3 steps. Most of the new college kickers coming out are doing it in 2 now because these guys can get so close to blocking it. Tyler hit hard but manages to get about 5 yards. There's Bill Ring.
Valuable asset on this team. I tell you, he's great on special teams. Can go in there and play at the fullback spot. Got good hands. Here he comes in on offense. They're going to reward him with that block.
He's a quick starter too, you know.
He gets to the line extremely quick.
He won't beat Nehemiah on the hurdles, but that first 4 or 5 yards, he gets it going. It's 2nd down and 5. Tyler has been hit hard on about 3 different carries today. Jarring tackles. The toss back to Ring. Ring pulled down from behind at the 27-yard line. Don't forget next Saturday a special edition of the NFL Today at 12:30 Pacific time. A report on the state of the game, the competition on the field and off. Pete Rozelle, the commissioner, will be live in the studio, and a special CBS Sports New York Times poll will analyze what's on the fans' minds as well. Football, the state of the game, next Saturday on the NFL Today. I'm going to watch. I want to find out what's really happening. The commissioner is very open and very honest. First by just the tip of the ball. Tunney makes the signal. Blocked a punt. They picked a fumble up and run in for a touchdown.
Do it all. They do it all.
First punt they've blocked this year. 6.1. We talked about that earlier. Average per snap. It's incredible. 1st and 10. Wendell Tyler swerving, trying to get to the 25. Buddy Curry hitting him there. Tyler's 3rd 1,000-yard rushing season in this league. 2 with the Rams, and this one in San Francisco Red.
Well, Wendell, as you look at him, only needed 78 yards, you know, coming into today's game to tie Delvin Williams for the 49er club record. He has 45 so far. You know, this is only his second year with the team, and he's already 7th in all-time rushing.
Remember he told you that he really worked on his strength, too, so he could run inside, he thought, more effectively, huh? And he's really cut down on the fumbles. This guy's an explosive back. Second down, toss back to Tyler. He's hit very hard at the 25. Kenny Johnson, number 37.
Buddy Curry, I suppose, would be there because Buddy told me yesterday, he said, about the only time that you can get a slant on what the 49ers are going to do is when they get in the I formation. He said they usually run the toss off the I, and he was thinking right with him that time. But it's hard to think with that man all the time.
Can you tell when he's worried? Have you been around him enough to where you can?
Yeah, he's having a good year. 12-1 will do that for you. He's extremely relaxed this year. But
he's intense in a pretty nice way, I think. It's fun to play for this gentleman. Third down and 7. Tyler with a lot of time now being chased. Dumps it out to Ring, and Ring is nailed at the 29-yard line.
That's your rookie from your second-year guy from Oklahoma, Case again. Right now he's a rookie.
Scott Case. Going to have to put a bell on him.
Yeah. I know what you mean when you say put a bell. We had a guy with Detroit named Roger Zatkoff, who was a linebacker, and in practice we put a cowbell on him because he'd be running into guys in practice, and we put a cowbell on him so we know where he was all the time.
This kid is one of the belligerent men out of the Big 8. Number 2 draft. They got Bryan, number 1, the All-American tackle, and Case came along for the ride. Wergy was going to try a field goal from about the 37. It's a 47-yarder for him if he's going to try it. Atlanta timeout gives Wergy a few moments to ponder it. It'll be a 46-yard attempt. Remember, he was worried a little bit about the mud and his cleats. We'll see if it has any effect. Get the possession. Wergy's trying now. He's 6 of 9 from this distance. Oh, hits the upright on the left and bounces back, but he nailed it. It was long enough.
Well, I tell you, he was trying to nurse that one in. You should have seen the body English on him here. Now watch Wershing on the hit. Check him out now. It's like golfers say, get left, get left, go. Darn it.
We saw Eddie Murray hit that in overtime. Detroit loses, remember? I've seen the goalpost hit about 3 times. Don't forget that Eastern Division standoff. You can see right there, Washington 9-5, Giants 8-5, 8-5 with Dallas. St. Louis still in the hunt at 7-6. We'll talk about what's going to happen on our doubleheader next. Let's go back to live action. 1st and 10. Back to Riggs. To the 33-yard line. And the scores today, Dallas is laying it on the Birds in Philadelphia 16-3. St. Louis 27, New England 10 in the 3rd. The Giants are cruising against the Jets. Don't forget that CBS doubleheader next week. It all starts with the NFL today at 9:30 Pacific time. Then the Giants and the Cardinals, the second game, the Redskins and the Cowboys, that big NFC East shootout. 2nd down and 5 on the 33. Riggs trying to get the rushing game going so they can get their tempo and keep it. Well, that was Reynolds.
Hacks up immediately. Did he have a read on that? He stepped up and got into the hole before Riggs did.
Is he still living on some island down in the Bahamas or something?
San Salvador in the off season in the Bahamas.
San Salvador.
Doesn't have a telephone. Doesn't want one.
Might be a nice place to go and relax. 3rd down and 5 on the 33-yard line. Orosky dumps it over the middle to Hodge. Orosky is still in there at quarterback. We thought maybe young Holly would be in there.
Hodge is playing the H-back or the move back in passing situations, and he just delayed a count or two and came over the middle. Keener Turner right there with him, and it's not enough for the 1st down. He'd be a long yard short of it.
It's time to go, at least according to the fans here. They've gone 24 times on 4th down so far this year and made 14 of 24. So load it up. Morosky on 4th and a long yard. It's going to pass. He's being chased, throws, and it's in and out of the interceptor's hands. Number 28, Tom Homo. There is a flag back down around the 30-yard line.
And it looks like it's going to be against the 49ers.
Well, if they call it on roughing the quarterback, I don't know how, because he did run out of the pocket.
Yep.
Once you leave the designated offensive line position where the tackles are, you're a free man. You're a ball carrier. Looks like Dwight Hicks might have come up and... Dwight Hicks was called, but...
He's puzzled by it.
Did Tunney tell us what he did, what Dwight Hicks did?
Did not.
We don't have Dwight Hicks wired up with a microphone or any kind of communications, or we would ask him. First down. Morosky got away with it, gambling on 4th and a yard. Going deep, he's got time. He's going deep, he's got an open receiver. It's a touchdown. Alfred Jackson gets the long touchdown pass. Mario Clark fell down. The second touchdown reception for Jackson, a 48-yarder. And Walsh goes to Norm Hacker to find out what's going on.
Well, first thing was Morosky had a lot of time and waited and waited and waited for Jackson to come open down there against Clark. And part of the reason for that is that the Niners did have a pretty good pushback on him, but they went by him. He stepped up and the rush kind of went by him, so he had extra time.
21-16, Luckhurst could make it a 4-point game. It is. And I'll say this for these fans, the people that came have stayed. And now they think they've got one on maybe a no-show that didn't catch one of the best football games Atlanta's played this year.
We've got the receiver isolated for you, Alfred Jackson. And now Mario Clark will be responsible for the coverage back here with short help. Now they're playing a zone over to this side. And Mario Clark's going to have deep outside coverage, and he's got plenty of cushion right here, and then loses it. Made a dive for it, and then there's just no way. Morosky with all kinds of time, a nice touch pass, and floated it in there. Now watch you'll see the rush go by him right here. See, he takes a short drop, steps up. Look at Keenan Turner go in behind him. So the rush is all by him. He had nobody in his face, could take his time, and lofted a perfect pass to Jackson.
What a throw. The second touchdown pass by Morosky, and it was a beauty. It's 21-17. As Luckhurst kicks off. That's Monroe. Monroe pulled down at the 21, and the Falcons have picked up the tempo. They want this ball game, and they are nasty and they're frustrated. A scoring drive. What a nice pass from Morosky to Jackson. 4 plays, 72 yards, a gamble on 4th and a yard. And I think what happened on that is that Dwight Hicks might have hit the quarterback in the head when he came up to force him on that. And if you do hit the quarterback in the head, it's a penalty. 1st and 10 now, facing Montana. Play action. Being chased, steps up, gets it off complete. First down pass to Earl Cooper.
Montana's hurt back there. He got a big rush from the outside that time by, I think, Jeff Yates in the ball game for the first time, and he hit him just as he delivered, and Montana was down. And he's up now, and it seems to be okay, but he was down there for a moment or two as he took a shot. Here it is right here. Play action fake now out of the I formation. Now watch Yates will come from the right side of your screen. Won't show up until right now. Watch this hit. He got sandwiched.
Bryan and Merle, you're right. Couple of yards for Wendell Tyler. Not much, though. Curry in there. You can feel it, the electricity. When you lose 7 games in a row, you want somebody to pay. You want a pound of flesh.
Well, you know what it's like, Bergie. I've never played on a team that lost 7 in a row, but I've played on teams that had miserable seasons. And you know, you just don't want to go out of the house. You don't want to go shopping. You don't want to do this. And people say, you know, what's wrong with you guys? And you hear it every day, and then you hear it every way.
We did a deal where we wouldn't shave till we won a game. We were the worst rookie team you've ever seen after 7 weeks. 2nd down and 7. Crowd is roaring down every play. Craig is short of the 40-yard line. Give him a couple to the 39. Fry getting him there. The last 4 possessions that the 49ers have had the ball. Missed a field goal, punt, INT. 3rd down, and call it a short 5, and the nickel comes in for Atlanta. Crowd's up yelling again. Montana. Off the hands at midfield. Trying for Earl Cooper. Good coverage. And Kenny Johnson has had in some game today.
Yes, he has. They switched him to safety from cornerback. He was a starting cornerback here for several years. I know that a lot of you 49er fans might remember him from last year. He was the person that put that big hit on Ronaldo Nehemiah here. But good job on the coverage there on Cooper.
Runiger punting from the 30. Ooh, this is a good kick. Virgil C at the 19, muffs it and recovers his own muff at the 17-yard line.
Virgil C used to play for the Washington Redskins, and he knows this one-back offense. That's why Dan Henning got him after he had some injuries. He was one of the original Smurfs of the Washington outfit.
Virgil Smurf.
Yeah.
Virgil C, no return. 21-17 San Francisco. The young quarterback, his 5th start in the league, his 3rd this year against a 12-1 team. And they're within 4 points. 1st and 10. Ball's on the 17. That gives to Riggs. He picks his own hole. He gets yardage out to the 23-yard line.
Got a great running style, doesn't he? You know, he gets that ball when he takes the handoff. Look how low he is, and he just kind of skates. Watch him right here. Doesn't give him much of a target. He gets that ball and goes right down now. Look how low he is back in there. Comes back out of here, gets low again, and it goes through the hole. Doesn't give you anything to hit except knees.
Good block by Dufour, the big right tackle, who had some problems earlier. Riggs at 90 yards for the day on 23 carries. 2nd down 5. Murawski quick. A hitch pattern. There's a flag down on that side.
Look at that. Eric Wright took 2 moves and stayed right with him again.
Bailey maybe gets a yard, but the flag was dropped on the Atlanta side for illegal procedure.
I'm impressed with Murawski, Tom, in this game. He did a really intelligent job at quarterback for Atlanta. He's not taking a whole lot of chances. And I asked him the other day, I said, you know, what's your strong suit as a quarterback? And he says, I think it's...
Illegal motion, offense, number 87, down remains the same.
He said, I think it's not overreacting. I think that's my sign. I don't get too carried away when I do good. I don't get too down when I don't do so well.
Call was on Benson, the movement man. With all the formations they get in and out of, it's a wonder it isn't called more often, or they're not guilty of it more often, I should say. It's 2nd down and 10. Big play facing the young quarterback here. He's being chased out. Now he's going to run with it. Gets a hole, breaks through. Murawski slides at the 34-yard line, and the crowd loves it.
Well, you see the 49ers used an overshifted defensive line that time. That gets Fred Dean out on the tight end like we saw before. Man over center. Big Hands Johnson loops in right here. Now look at that. There's 3 defensive linemen on one side of the center, 1 on the other, and there's just some gaps in there, and Murawski found one when there wasn't anything downfield.
A 17-yard scamper for a 1st down. And the sticks are moving, and so are the Falcons. They trail by 4, 21-17. A lot of time left in this game. Riggs probing maybe over the 35. Some people have been able to run the football at San Francisco, but not often enough to hurt them bad. Tampa Bay leading Green Bay 14-7 in the 3rd period. Buffalo 21-12 over Indianapolis. A lot of rumors about who's going to be coaching there in Buffalo. 17-7 Cleveland over Cincinnati. Houston leading Pittsburgh 13-10 in the third quarter. That division isn't sewed up yet. Second down and 8 on the 36. Morosky complete. Alfred Jackson took it. Was immediately collared by Eric Wright. Just about the 40-yard line.
There's that overshifted line now with Dean outside on the left side, and that's a cut block. Defense don't like that. Dufour, the tackle, went out and cut him down. Stay off my knees, kid, he'll be saying to him. Stay off my knees.
That gets the hands down, though. At least gives the quarterback room to throw it sometimes. Some athlete there came back and got 3 sacks in a hurry, didn't he, in a couple of games? Third down and 4. A little over 3 minutes left in the third period. Riggs going outside, cuts back, and carries people for the first down out to the 46. There was some effort on that run.
So he's getting up there now in yardage. He only needs, well, I say only, he needs to average 111 yards a game to break William Andrews' team rushing record. So we said he came into this one with 1,212 yards. Good block over there by Mike Ken, who's got Ricky Ellison turned in. And Riggs is just a tough 230-pound runner. As we mentioned, he stays really low and doesn't give you much to hit.
Wolf said the frightening thing was if Andrews was here, they would be splitting the time and both be fresh. First down and 10. Borowski has too much time as the ball deflected away at the 40-yard line from Alfred Jackson.
Yes, I think Hacksaw Reynolds with a good drop got a hand on it. Almost caused an interception. Let's check it out right here if we can tell. Jackson's 85 is inside there on the slot. Makes the move, and that's a good job by Dan Bunz out there staying with him. And Bunz almost ends up with the interception because of the deflection by number 64 Reynolds. Take a peek at it here, and you'll watch the flat of the ball, and I think you'll see that it was 64 on the drop who got a hand on it. No, it wasn't. It was Ellison, number 50.
Borowski is 16 of 25 for 220 yards. Still in the third period. That's Riggs bouncing outside. Riggs knocked down by some of his own men and Mario Clark, short of the midfield stripe. Out of Arizona State. He said Andrews helped him, and when Andrews went down, this young man didn't want that to be the way that he would get his action. But as he result, look at that, 5 100-yard games. He is now at 100 for 26 carries today. Third down and 8 on the 48. Morosky being hit, and he intercepted by McLemore. Dwayne Board caused it. McLemore's going to score it. I don't see any flags down. A big rush by Dwayne Board.
You bet that was the reason. Dwayne Board led the team in sacks with 8 coming into today's game. The steadiest player they have on the defensive line, and perhaps the most talented in all phases. Talking about playing against the run and everything that goes with it.
McLemore's 54-yard dash with the interception. His second interception. He plays on that nickel. Valuable people. Montana gets it down. It was sort of an Hawaiian wiggler that where's you kick, but it did get through.
There it is right here now. Dwayne Board will be coming from the left side of your screen. He's playing the left defensive end, and he took a big wide outside rush on Dufour and got his arm over, got the leverage, and made a big hit on Morosky, who just threw up a duck, and McLemore was there to trot on in with it. So the 49ers with 1:31 to play here in the third quarter. We're on top 28-17.
McLemore in his third year out of the University of Hawaii, and he's run back punts like he did against the Giants, and that was some interception touchdown. Here's Curran bringing out the kickoff. Curran's staggered and dropped at the 13-yard line. Bill Ring down quickly. 6-game winning streak. Houston 34-21. That was not an easy game. Moon's a fine quarterback. They really jumped on the Rams, and they're the only people that have really stopped Dickerson, and I mean like 30-something yards on 13 carries or whatever.
Yeah, it's their second 6-game winning streak. Started out 6-0, lost to Pittsburgh, and they're on that run now that you see.
They had a little trouble with Cincinnati. They beat them in the last minute. They had no trouble in Cleveland. Tampa gave them a good football game, and New Orleans did for a half. And I'll tell you, Atlanta hasn't really backed off much. Morosky on his own 5-yard line. He's going deep. Knocked away by Eric Wright at the 45. Bailey made a jump for it, but Wright was right with him.
Would you throw over there? I don't know if I'd even throw over there if I were Morosky. And they've been picking on Mario Clark, but they've replaced him with Dana McLemore over on the other side. You have to throw some over here to keep him honest. Stacey Bailey is one of those smooth gliders who can use up that cushion fast, but so's Eric Wright. You just don't play cornerback any better, and that guy's playing it today, and really how he's played it all season long.
Out of the Big 8, Missouri, in that fabulous backfield draft of '81. Ronnie Lott, Wright, and Williamson. And they picked up Dwight Hicks. The Eagles didn't think he could play. Gotta be kidding. Second down and 10 on the 14. Morosky going to the sideline. Jackson has it. They keep the clock running at the 25-yard line.
Here it is now, as I mentioned, Dana McLemore playing the left corner over here in place of Mario Clark, who's been burned a couple times today, and Dana's playing with a little bit of a cushion too. As I said, that is normal for that position. There's just not very many Eric Wrights in the world.
Closing seconds of the third quarter.
8 catches for Jackson. That's high in his career. He had 7 last week.
Bill Walsh. This team has all the ingredients. They rush, they pass and catch it, and they play defense. Long pass by Morosky, overthrowing everybody at the San Francisco 30. Bailey was the intended receiver, and guess who was with him? Eric Wright. Those two are like a matched pair of horses. They've been together all day.
Playing a lot of cat and mouse out there. I'll guarantee you that. Bailey came into today's game with a 26-game receiving streak. And everyone that he is going to catch over on that side of the field, he's going to earn.
He might be your player of the week back in San Francisco, you think?
He's coming up with a pretty good one, isn't he?
He's got a chance. I just got to vote for him. Dallas 23, Philadelphia 3 in the 4th. St. Louis 27, New England 10. Don't count the Patriots out. The Giants and the Jets, it's 20-10 New York Giants, or New Jersey Giants. Morosky over, hitting Jackson at the 42. And Alfred Jackson makes some catch. McLemore had him up on his shoulders and dumped him, and he still caught it.
Yep, great catch. 9 catches now for number 85.
Flags are down around the pass protection.
They may bring that one back. Yep.
A gentle response from the people that have been Sanforized, or they wouldn't be around. It really rained. I'm telling you, the first quarter, it was a deluge.
Holding, offense, 78, 10 yards, down remains the same.
78, not very few. Mike Ken, who is one of the least penalized offensive linemen in the, I would think, probably the history of the National Football League. You go one whole year without getting a penalty, I think he's fit in that category.
He and Fodor's got to be pretty close in having the right techniques.
I like what Randy Cross and John Ayers said to you yesterday. He said, when were you going to take out adoption papers on Fonhorse, because you talk about him so much on the air.
Second down and 20 on the 15-yard line. The blitz is on. Riggs breaks out against the pass rush and tumbles to the 37-yard line. A lot of shoving and a few heated words as the third quarter ends. Riggs hasn't folded up yet. A 20-yard burst. That's the end of the third quarter. The score, San Francisco 28, Atlanta 17. Let's pause for word from your local station. Morosky, what to do in the fourth quarter against San Francisco.
I'd be watching a bomb right here if I were 49ers defense, because without a doubt, if they didn't get it they'd go for it again on 4th down. So.
And it's 3rd and inches.
Yep.
Why not? Morosky inside trap play. Riggs dives for what looks like it should be the 1st down. As we said, you can almost hear this guy getting the engine running. In the 4th period, when everybody slows down a little bit, a running back like this can make hay.
Low view shot of it. You see that the H-back, the move back, come in there in front, number 87. That's Cliff Benson, to try to lead the way for Riggs. And with that low, tough style he is, he got the 1st down with plenty of room to spare.
Strange offensive year for the Falcons. First 4 games, they had 9 touchdowns. The last 9 games, they only had 3 touchdowns. Incredible. Morosky with a lot of time. Going outside. Complete. To Bailey. A good throw and catch on a good pattern against Dana McLemore.
That's a great throw. And that ball was in the air a long ways. It's not what you call a real long gainer, but he threw it across field a long way and had it right on the money. Dana McLemore in pretty good shape here on Bailey, who runs the out pattern, but it's a perfect throw. Floyd Hodge it was. Did we say Bailey? That's Bailey, number 82, isn't it?
Yeah, that's 82. That's Stacey
Bailey. Hodge was super, but it's Stacey Bailey.
The man from San Jose. 1st and 10 now. Morosky with a lot of time. Over 14 minutes left. But he's got to get points. Outside. That's Jackson. Pretty good job by a young quarterback. I like his movement.
Do too, and he's gaining confidence as he goes along here, it seems. You know, Steve Bartkowski, Brookie, you mentioned whether he's going to continue playing or not is kind of up for grabs. How it all depends on how he rehabilitates from this knee. He said he really doesn't want to jeopardize his future with his family, playing ball with his kids and that kind of thing. And if it's going to hurt him down the line, this just might be it for him.
And his knees right now are bone against bone. There's no cartilage left. It's 2nd down and 2 on the 41. Play action pass. Morosky looking away and going to an open receiver at the 25-yard line. Alfred Jackson. McLemore makes the tackle. Another 1st down.
Well, they've just found a spot they can go to over there, and it's, they picked on Mario Clark, and now they're coming back and taking advantage of Dana McLemore, and it kind of points out how important Ronnie Lott is to this defense. He gets back and can play safety, and they move Dwight Hicks out here, and they're a little bit better off.
And the pressure from San Francisco's rush is not there right now. Morosky has time to throw the 16-yarder. This is where the team missed Billy White Shoes Johnson. The little movement man was tremendous at getting open down the middle. He has been out 3 weeks. Misdirection. Play to Riggs. Riggs breaks out. Caught from behind at the 16-yard line by Homo and Eric Wright.
It's getting tough to see the numbers out there in some of the situations, but it looked like the Niners had a blitz on that time, and Mike Walter kind of ran right by Riggs.
Riggs is replacing Andrews, who had 22 100-yard rushing days. 4 of those against San Francisco. He used to love to play the Niners. Remember, San Francisco hasn't won in this ballpark since 1977. That's a long time ago. 2nd down and 2 on the 16. Morosky has time. It's knocked away.
Boy.
Eric Wright got a right hand on it.
See something? What a day. What a day he's having. Forget, that's your old spot. You ever seen anybody play any better than that?
Well, I'll tell you what.
Jackson's 85. Now, look at Eric Wright. I mean, he's a mirror. He mirrors every move the receiver makes. Comes across. He had his hand on his back. They let him get away with it, and that's good because it didn't affect a thing.
I like the way he waits till the last moment to make his move and is confident enough to do it. Morosky is 20 of 33 for 270. And Atlanta is 4 of 12 on the 3rd down conversion. This is one they need badly. 3rd down and 2. Inside the truck. Pretty close. They may move the sticks again. This team is not out of it. 12:23 on the clock. Flags are down across the field. Ooh, procedure against Atlanta. I asked Henning yesterday if he could make one rule himself, what would he do? And he said, well, we'll play with the rules the way they are. If they just call them the same way and legislate them the same way every day, every play. Tunney does.
Illegal formation, no end on the right side of the line. Down remains the same.
Has to be an end on the right side, or your tackles have got to be very swift. Third down now and 7, back on the 21.
Looks like Fred Dean's going to line up against Mike Ken over here on the right of your screen, and that'll be a battle.
And Lynn Kane is in the game, number 21, a very fine receiver. He's blocked it this time. Ball is knocked away, and San Francisco recovers at the 37-yard line.
He'd lose it going upward. Did somebody swat and knock it out? I couldn't tell.
Todd Shell recovered it, number 9, Ott. We'll have to see who scraped that out.
See right here. Morowski comes back. There's a stun on in front.
Somebody reached in there and got it, and I can't see who it was yet.
Ooh, that's Keena Turner, isn't it?
Keena Turner, number 58, right. A good effort.
It's turnover time, and it's 28-17, San Francisco. Scores, Dallas 23, Philadelphia 3 for the Dallas defense. 33-10 St. Louis, and back to live action. Craig with the ball. After the recovered fumble, San Francisco would like to literally eat the clock up and not even give the ball back, perhaps, to the Atlanta offense. Much more potent than we were led to believe, or I was expecting to see that Atlanta team. They moved the football.
That second score there, St. Louis starting to get hot again, it looks like. At a good time for them. 33-10 in the fourth quarter against New England, and New England's a pretty fair ball club.
Don't forget that big Eastern Division scramble. Next week we got the Giants and the Cardinals. In the second game, it's the Redskins and the Cowboys here next week on CBS. Big scramble as Wendell Tyler tries to get a yard or two. He's had a pretty tough day. Wendell was a marked man coming in, the 1,000-yard rusher. When you're playing defense, you want to take that away from him.
11 carries for 48 yards is what he has right now.
Third down and 2. Ball is on the 45-yard line. Montana has gone all the way at quarterback. The reverse. Solomon's second reverse of the day, and just out over the 45, maybe a yard gain. Solomon's a little slow getting up. The one fear you have when you're heading for a championship game of some kind is to lose valuable people.
Good heads-up play there by Fulton Kuykendall, who came in on that short yardage situation and stepped up and stopped that reverse.
Runniger now in the punt. Will try to put it deep inside and away from Virgil C. There's Kuykendall. Captain Crunch.
Dick Vermeil said that Kuykendall was the most intelligent player he ever coached. He had him at UCLA.
Runniger gets it off. He's trying it for the left sideline. Good-looking kick. Taken at the 10-yard line by C. And it looks like San Francisco think it's their ball.
I think he may have been out of bounds with it and fumbled it back in. Yep.
Good-looking punt by Max Runniger. Put it back around that 10-yard line to where it was difficult for C to come out with it. And the 49ers were down there, almost daring the return man. All right, it's 28-17, 10:40 left in the fourth. San Francisco still hot. Walker with a team that is 12-1, the 14th game of the season. The 49ers play some defense here with an 11-point lead, and they would be 13-1. Morowski back. throwing from his own 3-yard line and closely covered, too closely covered, is number 87. Benson, linebacker, was laying all over him over there.
That was Tommy Holmoe, the strong safety, number 28, who made an early move on it.
They'll move the sticks not too far in yardage, but the first down will.
Pass interference, defense, number 28, first down, one on the foul.
Holmoe.
Making the start, as we said today, and playing for Carlton Williamson, who's banged up a little bit, but Carlton will more than likely be back next week. As I said, if they win this ball game today, they'll start resting some people.
Get Ronnie Lott back? How soon, you think?
Well, they think that he might come back and suit up next week. I don't know whether they'd play him or not, because they can take some time with him.
If you suit him up, you're going to have to play him because you can't keep him on the bench.
That's right.
Orlovsky back. He's being rushed. He somehow gets it out. It's intercepted. A great interception and run back to the 10-yard line by Keena Turner. And I don't know how he kept his eyes on the ball. It came right over the head, and he still caught it.
He can play.
And Stuckey may have forced that interception.
Now, you know what? This play just really kind of doubly points out the athletic ability of Keena Turner. He made a good catch on the interception on the ball, but watch what he does after the interception. He goes to the ground, and he's back up like he's a rubber ball. I mean, he stays on the ground, just not even a count, perhaps. Look at the catch. Look at that catch. Now watch this. I mean, he's not down there. That's impossible to get up that fast.
The receivers would love to have that catch. His 4th interception. I'm talking about Keena Turner, who's probably going to be in Hawaii for the Pro Bowl game this year.
Oh, when you're that quick, boy.
What a catch. Good pressure put on by Stuckey and company. Another interception. And there are so many ways that San Francisco can drive nails in your box. It's amazing. People beginning to file out. Hand off to Tyler. Flags are down. Tyler gets to the 1. Sort of tiptoeing through the tulips. Flags are down.
Ball start, offense.
If this holds, the score holds, it would be the 8th straight loss for the Falcons. And a decision has to be made whether they want Doug Flutie, the Boston College quarterback, or not.
Down remains, second out.
You know, the coach said it, and we talked to Buddy Curry, who's standing right behind Dan Henning there. You know, they both said the other day at practice that, you know, nobody's quit. Nobody's, you know, not hustling on this team. It's just, we're just passing it around, and we can't get it done.
Tough division, too. Montana reloading. Oh, somehow gets it to Craig at the 5. Montana makes that decision to change receivers as quickly as any quarterback I've ever seen.
That's a pretty clean jersey, too, when you think about it, for a day like today. He was sacked once, I think, in the first half. Took a hit as he released one other time. But they take pretty good care of him.
3rd down and goal. They should. Straight ahead handoff. Touchdown. Craig put his hands down, his head down, covered up the ball with both hands, and stormed on in.
Good job by Fred Quill in the center, and Randy Cross, the right guard over there. Let's look at the surge of that offensive line in the white. They just moved people off the football that time, and Craig had a tunnel to go through. Another look at it right here. Quillen's the center. He comes out and gets a block on Kuykendall, or a seal off, and goes down on Case. Cross and Fahnhorst over there. Just good job all the way around.
7th rushing touchdown for the former Nebraska Cornhusker. Wersching's kick looks good. How quickly that small margin was made. 35-17, San Francisco. But your problem with that headset, it looks like. He's some organizer, isn't he?
Yep. And he's got, looks like the home field advantage locked up with this lead. Taking hold.
Wersching's kickoff taken by Kenny Kenny Johnson still on his feet. Kenny Johnson hasn't quit playing, has he? Don't forget, NFL football next Saturday on CBS. The Minnesota Vikings meet these NFC Western Division champions, the San Francisco 49ers. Good luck to the Vikings. It all starts with the NFL today at 12:30 Pacific time. The 49ers and the Vikings next Saturday on CBS. How would you like to call somebody you know that plays with the Vikings and say, guess what I saw today? The team you're going to play next Saturday on national television. Because this club has no mercy either, which is the way a football team should operate. They dissect you. First and 10 on the 29-yard line. Morosky all the way at quarterback, has his arm hit. Ball bounces in. And you know, the junior varsity isn't bad. The team like this, if you put somebody in that hasn't played, they're so hungry that they'll end up making something happen.
Well, that's the truth, and you'll see a lot of that. As we mentioned, Walsh said that should they win today, next week they'll more than likely go to the subs. There's no reason not to. They said that they're certainly not going to let teams push them around the field and not try to win, but they are going to spot some people and try to protect against key injuries.
By the way, Norm Hecker, the coach for Walsh on the sidelines, was the first coach of this franchise back in '66 and '67. A completed pass to Alfred Jackson. Norm Hecker at that time was with the Lombardi Green Bay Packers, and he came down here the first 2 years. The player allotment was only 42, and the group that other teams gave away to Atlanta in those days could have run a pirate ship. That was some collection of people that came down here, started this franchise.
Jackson, a smart move, making a turn with just enough room for the first down. McLemore securing there. 11 catches now, 193 yards for Alfred Jackson. That's got to be his career day.
We'll look that up. That may be getting close to an Atlanta record too, but Wallace Francis had some good days here. So did Jenkins. Overthrowing Stacey Bailey, who was covered by, you know, whom I'm speaking of, number 21, Eric Wright. They might as well go out and have dinner and go to the airport together. They've been joined at the hip since they went solo.
Well,
early
I told
in the
you.
game.
Yeah, Chris Collinsworth, after the Cincinnati game, said if Eric Wright played in the AFC, I'd vote for him for the Pro Bowl squad, and they got some pretty good cornerbacks over there in that AFC, and particularly even on a team, just one team, the Raiders. So he's getting the accolades that he deserves now.
Second down and 10. The yardage record for Atlanta is 190 yards by Kenny Burrow.
Well, unofficially, it's by the boards, because unofficially, Jackson has 193.
Kenny Burrow was here, of course, in the early 70s. Norm Van Brocklin was the coach. They had some wild defensive ball clubs down here. Claude Humphrey and Zook. Remember the crazy Zooker they called him? Happy Zooker or whatever.
1 moment, please.
But they never could quite win the division and get into the playoff situation. And in 1980, they had 12-4 during the regular season and stormed in, and for 3 quarters just took Dallas apart. And then they lost that game.
30-second clock malfunction. We ask the electric clock operator, please put 15 seconds back on the clock. 15 seconds, please.
Jim Tunney properly has 15 seconds put back on there. Van Henning in his 2nd year. And this will test your mettle. And the program staggers for you right in the middle of it. Scores of other games: Tampa Bay losing to the Packers 20-14. That's in the 4th. Denver and Kansas City 13-all. No matter how each team is going, Kansas City plays Denver as tough as anybody in that division. Cincinnati and Cleveland 17-all. They're into overtime.
Yeah, Cleveland had an early lead in that one. Cincinnati came back.
Pittsburgh, Houston, same division, same score, 20-20. He's tied. Chuck Noll has never been named Coach of the Year. I find that the most incredible statistic. Dallas 23, Philadelphia 10. Eagles haven't even gotten a touchdown until this 4th quarter action. 33-10, St. Louis over New England. And Giants and the Jets. It's 20-10 in the fourth. Both teams playing down in the Meadowlands, where the coot used to nest in the spring. We're not so sure what the it has been raining hard some of the time, so maybe the clock got wet. Look at that. We got this score will be 200 and something to 3.
That's a new CBS program. It's an extended 60 minutes.
Called 2 hours and a half, right? There we go.
7 minutes, 42 seconds is correct. Reset 30-second clock.
Jim Tunney, the motivational speaker. Have you ever heard him speak? He gives, you feel like going out and enlisting him after he talked to you for 12 minutes. Second down and 10 on the 40. Atlanta now down by 18 points. Riggs straight ahead. He certainly can be proud of the afternoon. He has gained respect for the 49ers in both games. He had 131 in the first game.
I think he can be proud of his entire year. Remember when we talked to him yesterday, we said, Gerald, I know it hasn't been a good year for the team, but you got to feel good about what you've done. And he said, yeah, he says, I do. The numbers are fine. And he said, but more importantly, I think I've progressed as a player and gotten a lot better. It'll set me up for the future.
30 carries, 137 yards, and a touchdown. That's an afternoon's work, isn't it? Morosky going to have to run it now. He's pretty close to the line of scrimmage. Unloads it into the outfield grass. Dwayne Board was pursuing the quarterback. Everybody went into a pile over on the 45-yard line, right in front of the San Francisco bench.
So you can see who's down. A 49er player injured on the sideline. That's Jeff Van Note, number 57, out in front of Morosky. Todd Shell is number 90. 76 is Board coming in from behind, who makes the hit there.
Oh.
Boy, and Morosky took a shot. You'd think he'd be the one to be down, but he got up, and it might be Board that's down, and it was, but now he's up and around okay.
Jim Fodhorst, the young linebacker, had a strained knee. He left in the first half, wheeled off, but it was determined a sprain, which was good news, of course. Fourth down now and 6 to go on the 43-yard line. And, of course, Morosky and the Falcons are going to go for it. A lot of time. Morosky finds and overthrows Jackson coming across on the 40-yard line.
Might have been about the only time that he was open against Eric Wright all day, and he overthrew it some on him.
In the month of December, CBS Sports coverage of NCAA basketball will feature the nation's top teams. Next Saturday, Nevada, Las Vegas will head east for a showdown with defending national champions Georgetown. In 2 weeks, you'll see Georgetown host the second-ranked team from DePaul. December 22nd from Madison Square Garden, it'll be UCLA taking on third-ranked St. John's. These are just some of the games you'll be seeing in December on the home of the NCAA Championship, CBS Sports. Wendell Tyler in a hurry to the 36-yard line of Atlanta. Wendell's had sort of a quiet game. Somebody else picks up the slack when you have a squad that's as balanced as this one is. They're a better team than they were in '81 in almost every statistic, I believe. But that doesn't mean you can't lose in a playoff. They're all sudden death, you know, as soon as that season stops. Tyler inside the 30-yard line. Spotted at about the 27 and a first down for San Francisco. Speaking of, 81 they averaged 114 yards rushing. 157 they're averaging this year between Craig and Tyler.
That's where the big improvement's been, and it's allowed them to do some things like controlling a game like they're doing now, and when they get ahead in the second half, keep the ball away from the other offense. I tell you, the offensive linemen love it a lot. They love the running game.
Montana throwing a slider low and away to Mike Wilson. Cincinnati in overtime beats Cleveland 20-17. 2 in a row for the Bengals. They knocked off Atlanta a week ago. They beat the Falcons 35-14. Second down and 10. Nickel defense in for Atlanta. Montana still in at quarterback. He's got time. He's going for Wilson, who dives for it at the goal line. Bobby Butler was chasing the receiver. Underrated, this fella is.
Yeah, I think this was an audible too by Montana. So he moved a couple people in. Mike Wilson, who has been a great player for the 49ers coming in ball games in relief of the starters. And a good effort here, but it wasn't to be. Montana overthrew him.
Just looking down the road a little bit, the last game was against the Los Angeles Rams or the Anaheim Rams or whatever you want to call them. Would Walsh want to go full speed by that time? One, to be emphatic and to get into the playoffs with everything sort of working?
I think at least for a half, because they're going to the playoffs, they're going to have an off week. They won't have to play that first week.
Montana going for the corner. Cooper lets the ball go through his fingers. Good speed on this tight end, Earl Cooper. He simply dropped that one.
Yeah, this was a touchdown. This is a good throw by Montana. The Falcons up faking a blitz and didn't come with it, and they gave him all kinds of protection. Cooper made a move into the post and ran back out to the corner, and this is just a great throw right on the money. Cooper not going to miss many of those. He had 83 catches as a rookie, Cooper did, when he was a fullback.
A 48-yard attempt by Wershing, blocked by Atlanta. Wershing has it blocked. And I mean point blank.
Shows you some character there. Look at Atlanta. Look at Buddy Curry, what we talked about. Frustrated, yeah. Not trying, no.
Still coming hard. 5:08 left in the fourth and final period, and a 35-17 San Francisco got the block, but I believe it's number 50, the North Carolinian, blocked that field goal attempt. Wershing, by the way, has missed his last 4 field goal attempts. Morosky is sacked back on the 26-yard line.
Big hands.
Big hands Johnson.
See where he comes from now. What happens, they get Fred Dean in there in this nickel situation, and they usually have to double him, and that just loosened things up for the rest of the people. Big hands took an inside rush there, got on the back kind of let him go, and that's happened twice to Morosky back there now, where he's had somebody in the right position to block a lineman, but it hasn't been done. Once with Fred Dean and once with Johnson.
Scully went a little too low with his block, and Big Hands walked right through it. And they move around, and they're in a different position all the time, so you never know where they're going. The throw to Riggs gets to the 34-yard line, and quite a battle on the line of scrimmage between Ken and Fred Dean that time going on.
I like to watch that one. I try to watch it every chance I get, because you're seeing really probably the 2 best. I think probably Mike Ken is the best pass blocking offensive tackle in football, and I think that Fred Dean is without a doubt the best pass rushing defensive end, and it's battle of the Titans.
there is Ken. You're looking at him, and number 74 is on his outside shoulder. You watch that one this time. Pretty cute little move. Morosky looks like he was running that quarterback draw, but it looked like the lineman ducked for a minute and then went ahead upfield. 6 Atlanta turnovers. And of course, the ultimate result in turnovers is points for the other team. 21 of them for the 49ers today.
The thing we've pointed out all year about the 49ers is how good they are mentally. They just don't make mistakes. They do not beat themselves.
Young Morosky has labored, but he's been pretty effective as a quarterback. This team has moved really good. Morosky now throwing on every play, obviously. Completes it to the 45-yard line to Tuttle, former Clemson All-American with great speed. Dwight Hicks was right there.
Terry Tuttle was #1 draft choice of Buffalo back in '82, and then he was traded to Tampa Bay, and Tampa Bay just put him on waivers. Couldn't figure that out.
Oh, in college, he had to be one of the quickest looking receivers I've ever seen.
He was something in college.
Holding, 71, 10 yards. Down remains the same.
DeFore, the big tackle, detected for holding. Dallas beating Philadelphia 26-10. St. Louis 33-10 over New England. The Giants 20-10 over the Jets. And as you know, next weekend, it's the NFC East showdown. Because you got Washington and Dallas, New York and St. Louis. That's about as good a matchup as you can have. Philadelphia goes or entertains New England, I believe. So don't forget, next Sunday, the doubleheader. All starts with the NFL today, and then the Giants in St. Louis, and Cowboys at Indians. Washington against Dallas.
Yeah, it's going to take shape a little bit next weekend. NFC East stayed with each other today, but that won't be the case after next Sunday.
First playoff game will be the 23rd of December. That would be the wild card matchup. Bill Walsh made a special effort of making sure that we understood that they would not play the Rams in a team in their same division. The Rams would cross over and play somebody in the East or Central. Tonight on CBS, 60 Minutes. Always one of the top shows for everybody in the country. Kenny and Dolly. That's Kenny who and
Kenny
Dolly
Rogers and Dolly Parton.
Christmas to remember. I'll take their word for that.
I should say so.
And of course, Circus of the Stars, where all the stars and celebrities get on elephants and swallow fire, do all kinds of interesting things. Tonight on CBS. One timeout left for Atlanta. Well, the people that paid their money are staying right here.
Either that or they rode with somebody who works here.
That clock has been over 3 minutes for about 20 minutes. Giacomo back to punt on 4th and 19. Will he kick it? Kicked it. It's an end-over-end job, bouncing at the 35 and out of bounds on the 27-yard line. So San Francisco will get the football and, of course, the contest. Don't forget, next Saturday, the NFL Today begins it all. Minnesota Vikings then will take on the San Francisco 49ers. It all starts with the NFL Today at 12:30 Pacific time. The Niners and the Vikings next Saturday on CBS. Well, Minnesota's got a tough schedule, too. They have played everybody that was bushy-tailed in football. It seems to me like every time I see them, they're tangling with one of the league's best. The 49ers are certainly that in the NFC. Montana. All the way inside handoff to Ring on the full spinner by the quarterback. Kavanaugh did take over for a game and a half when Montana hurt the sternum. He beat Philadelphia, Kavanaugh did, and he did a job of maintaining the lead in the New Orleans game to keep the Niners on top in that one. So if they have to have a backup situation, they're pretty well prepared. They're deep.
And that, with the situation that they've gone through the entire season almost with only 2 quarterbacks, and most teams go with 3.
Ring and Derek Carmen in the backfield. Toss back to Ring. Ring is collared at the 25 by Benish.
Final score, St. Louis 33, New England 10, Cincinnati 20, Cleveland 17.
The toss here, number 69, Dan Benish, defensive tackle, catches it from behind. Pretty good effort.
Remember, this Atlanta team lost Andrews, Bartkowski, and Billy White Shoes Johnson. Oh. Tell you, they're still watching the game.
Still smiling.
And the girls are dancing, you know, the dancing girls down there. I guess that you might as well. It's sort of cold and it's raining again. concert going down here. Fulton County Stadium. And they certainly, the 49ers, this is their first victory here since 1977. First one for Walsh. Come to the land of fried chicken, so be a pretty good flight back to the Bay Area. Montana, quick drop. Down the middle end, overthrow, intercepted by Kenny Johnson. On his feet still, Kenny Johnson inside the 30-yard line. And I hope everybody that is here gives this young man a hand. You're right, Kenny. Take the ball, buddy. You have played some football game from pillar to post. He's been in on a dozen tackles.
I think Montana wanted to get rid of this ball a little bit sooner, but Clark wasn't looking for him. Lucky he wanted to do it there, and then was a little bit late with it and just completely overthrew him. I think he wanted to go earlier, and Clark wasn't looking. So Montana didn't release on that first pump, and it cost him.
That's some good blocking on this. Storms back inside the 30 to the 27, and Morawski's back at work, and it's coming down. That is redundant. Ball slid on through at the 19. That was Virgil C. That.
This is the way it was raining right at the start of the ball game and a short time before kickoff.
I see where the baseball team in this town and that Turner owns is going to give the St. Louis relief pitcher $45 million for 35 years or something.
How much do you need, huh?
You better never lose a game. What's his name?
Bruce Sutter.
Yeah, Bruce Sutter, the football specialist. That's just a lot of money, you know. When people started in Ethiopia, I don't quite understand some of those things, I guess. Incomplete pass as Morawski stopping the clock, of course, with each incompletion with 1:39 on the clock. Our monitors have all gone out upstairs here. The water is probably leaking through.
Well, we probably just have to alert you since our monitor's on here. Until we get them ready to go, you won't be seeing any replays, so we'll pay attention as we can right on the field along with you.
Morawski back to throw, sets up. Knocked away, closely covered. Tuttle was covered by McLemore. Dana McLemore came in when Mario Clark had a little bit of a problem playing the corner, and in all fairness, the turf was very slippery where Mario fell down on a touchdown pass. Remember the post-game show coming up next with Brent and Irv and Jimmy from the New York studio. They'll wrap up all of today's action, and especially that NFC East log jam. Next week, our doubleheader is that log jam, all four of them. Back at the 31, Kane gets up rather slowly, like he.
Big play too by Michael Carter, the rookie nose tackle that time, who made that stop. Just another part of that depth situation you were talking about.
NFC scores: Dallas 26, Philadelphia 10. That's the final. St. Louis 33, New England 10. That's the final. And the New Jersey Giants beat the Jets 20-10, and that's the final. Don't forget now, these are the standings the way they are. The Giants 9-5, Washington, Dallas, St. Louis only a game back, and those four all play one another this next Sunday on CBS. It's going to be some Sunday football. Ring bounces out to the 35-yard line. Big upset here. Kansas City 16, Denver 13. Don't forget, Denver has the Seattle Seahawks in Seattle, the last game of the season. That building may not be strong enough to hold what's going to happen in there. This could be the longest last quarter of football I have ever seen.
It's Rankin in there.
Bill Friel, my spotter, he's kept everything dry and all up here, but it's been sort of a long fourth quarter. 35-17. Too many turnovers and too much San Francisco offense, defense, special teams, etc., etc. That's Derek Harmon getting the call there. It's going to be short of the first down.
I think we have perhaps seen the last snap of the football game with 22 seconds and counting now.
Be a good flight back to San Francisco. This team flies first class. Everybody seems to enjoy the trips. Huh?
Oh, they have big plane. They fly DC-10s. Everybody gets a row to themselves back there, and they do enjoy it.
The quarterback that went all the way today, Joe Montana, won the first game for Bill Walsh and for San Francisco in Atlanta since 1977. We'll be back in just a moment. 35-17. With Wayne Walker. We're back again. Final score was San Francisco 35, Atlanta 17 in the rain here in Atlanta, Georgia. And it was probably a closer game than that score indicates, but when I really think about it, the turnovers absolutely turned into points, and it probably was just about indicative of the way San Francisco handled them.
I think it was. I don't think there was any time that the 49ers weren't in control of the ball game. Atlanta came back a couple times to make a game out of it, then would hurt themselves with a turnover, and as you said, that was the difference in the game.
We're going to go down and talk to a fellow that caught the touchdown pass, the 64-yarder, the largest of, or the longest of the season, except for Clark's 80-yarder against Houston. How you doing down there, Freddie?
Pretty good, Tom.
Boy, I'll tell you one thing. You got those quick feet going today. That was some pattern you ran against that bump and run.
Well, thank you. I ran a post pattern, and Joe found me, and he laid it up for me, and I ran under it and kept running.
Fred, we were anticipating that that looked like it might have been an audible by Joe, was it?
It was.
And he, what did he have called in the huddle? Do you remember?
It was a running play. I think it was 18 Bob, and he audible because they were in blitz coverage.
18 Bob's your sweep, right?
Right.
And then he saw the safeties up there. And did you go to the post because there was a safety blitz and it was open in the middle, or is that just the way that the play is drawn? Did you have to make the adjustment by side, or is that the way the play is drawn up?
It was a design play like that.
Fred, that's the second time in 2 weeks that you scored on a touchdown that he's audibleized on, right?
Well, that is true. I ran a slant last week, and today we caught him in blitz again, and I ran a post today.
I think you're going to have to buy him dinner.
Well, right.
Freddie, what kind of a team is this? Obviously, you were there when you won the Super Bowl. What kind of a football team do you guys consider yourself compared to the one back in those days?
Well, I think we have a real fine football team. We go out and work hard, and when we need to get the job done, we find a way to get it done, whether passing or running, or the defense comes through for us. And it's just a team that really believes in itself, and we work hard.
Does it amaze you too, though? Because every time I see you fellas, you do it effectively like you did today, but you do it a different way every time. And we've watched it now the 9th game, and I'm really impressed with the whole squad. I mean, all 49 plus the coaching staff. You guys, it's one of the best team functions that I've seen.
Well, thank you. We go out and work hard, and like I said earlier, we believe in ourselves, and we will try to find a way to win.
Fred, let me ask you one more question here if I can. On a day like today with it wet and fairly cold out there, did you guys wear any special gloves? I know that I saw DC Dwight Clark with some gloves on. How about yourself?
Well, I had the black scuba gloves on too, and the black shoes.
They work pretty well?
Yeah.
Same old Freddie Sullivan, which is the good news, huh? Congratulations, Freddie.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll be back in just a moment. San Francisco laid it on them in the rain in Atlanta, 35-17.